want India will be the permanent member of Security Council of UN?
That is a burning wish of mine, and it's a personal wish.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks.
My pleasure.
With video journalist Manohar Kesari.
All right, viewers, now, in fact, shifting our focus to more developing news. During the visit of Guyana, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a special session of the Guyanese Parliament on 21st of November. This will be the 14th such instance when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will speak on the behalf of the people of India in the parliaments of foreign nations. He holds the distinction of being the Indian PM with the highest number of addresses to foreign parliamentarians. All right, Manohar, as in fact you join me back on the broadcast, you have spoken to the key dignitaries of the nation, where in fact he also has very cultural and roots into India, and in fact the conversation that you have brought forward focuses largely over in fact how India and Guyana are looking forward to merge into more sectors of development. And while Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to address the special session of the Parliament, making it even more in fact extraordinary for the visit, what is the latest that we can expect right now in this regard?
बिल्कुल अब देखिए ये तो भारत की बहुत ज्यादा गर्व की बात है क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी गयाना की पार्लियामेंट में सिर्फ सेशन को ही संबोधित नहीं किया बल्कि उन्होंने दो देशों के बीच के रिश्तों को मजबूत करने के लिए एक और चीज तैयार की। उन्होंने कहा यह तमाम भारतवासियों के लिए एक सम्मानित बात है और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की बात करें एज अ प्राइम मिनिस्टर तो उनका किसी भी विदेशी भर्ती से या कहते हैं अलग अलग देशों के 14 पार्लियामेंट सेशन को उन्होंने संबोधित कर चुके। अगर हम 2014 की बात करें तो 2014 में जब पहली बार प्रधानमंत्री बने थे तो 4 देशों के अलग अलग चाहे नेपाल की बात हो, भूटान की बात हो, उन देशों के पार्लियामेंट को उन्होंने संबोधित किया। 2016 की बात करें तो 2016 में उन्होंने अमेरिका के कांग्रेस है तो वहां पे जो ज्वाइंट सेशन को उन्होंने संबोधित किया। 2023 में भी जून में अगर आप देखें तो अमेरिका के कांग्रेस को उन्होंने ज्वाइंट सेशन को संबोधित किया है। इस स्थिति में 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों के लिए काफी गर्व की बात है और जब गर्व की बात है इससे हमारे आर्थिक जो डेवलपमेंट है उसका भी एक ग्रोथ करता है तो भी आगे बढ़ते हैं। हमारे जीडीपी पे हमारे एक्सपोर्ट पे इन सारी चीजों पे जो है तो आगे बढ़ने के लिए जो है एक मदद मिलती है। और जहाँ भारत की बात है तो भारत की जो इकोनॉमी की बात की जा रही है 2045 तक भारत को विकसित भारत की बात की जा रही है और भारत को डेवलप कंट्री बनाने की बात की जा रही है। तमाम विषय को लेकर के अगर किसी भी विदेश के धरती में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी अगर संबोधित करते हैं तो भारत के विकास के लिए काफी अहम माना जाता है।
All right, Manohar, thank you for in fact adding more to this information that and the developing story that we are tracking very closely. Thank you for giving us this top of the important news break. Now, viewers, moving on, the Ministry of External Affairs has strongly dismissed a Canadian media report that linked Prime Minister Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and the NSA Ajit Doval to the killing of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The report alleged that PM Modi was aware of the plot to kill Nijjar in British Columbia, and MEA also added that the smear campaigns like this only further damage our already strained ties. The diplomatic clash between the two nations started with the Canadian PM Justin Trudeau's decision to publicly accuse India of being allegedly involved in the assassination of Nijjar last year without providing hard evidentiary proof to India. India also recalled 6 of its diplomats, including the High Commissioner, and expelled as many as Canadian envoys after Canada's claims. The diplomatic spat escalated to unprecedented levels when Canada dragged Home Minister Amit Shah into its allegation. All right, now joining me live on the broadcast is my colleague Mehdi Garg to share more details. Mehdi, India has very strongly dissented over the reports which have linked to the killing of Niger with in fact the information that was given by the Indian top leadership. How exactly is in fact more reactions onto this dissent over this report by the Canadian authorities is coming?
Well, indeed, Simran, big developments are coming on, India and Canada's diplomatic relations, and India has strongly condemned the Canadian media reports in which it has been allegedly accused that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was aware of a plot to kill pro-Khalistani separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada, calling the claims ridiculous and also urging their dismissal with the contempt they deserve. And also the Ministry of External Affairs, the NEA, has dismissed the allegations, highlighting that such smear campaigns only serve to further damage the already strained ties between the two countries. And not only this, the NEA spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal, in his statement and also taken to his X platform, has posted an official comment saying that India do not normally comment on media reports, but however, such ludicrous statements have been made to a newspaper reportedly by a Canadian government source should be dismissed by India, and India is, condemning these statements by the Canadian reports. So with the contempt they deserve, and also these smear campaigns like this only further damage the already strained ties between the two countries. And apart from that, this statement follows a report by the Canada-based Global and Mail, which attempted to link the death of the NIA-designated terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar to the Indian government, and also the report cited a senior Canadian national security official alleging that Canadian security agencies assert that PM Modi had knowledge of Niger's death and other violent plots in Canada. And Simran, this is a very big and a very huge allegation that have been put by the Canadian government on India's government and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And earlier in the days, we all saw that how the ties between the two nations, the diplomatic relations between the two nations are on a thin knot right now, are strained right now. So the relationship between both the countries have deteriorated significantly, with India expressing serious concerns about the extremism and also the anti-India activities that is happening in Canada, urging Canadian authorities to take action against these activities rather than putting the blames on the Indian government and on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And also talking about Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, then he has allegedly accused Indian government in the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada in the previous year also, and the history is repeating itself, because now also the Canadian government and also Trudeau's government is accusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the same. And India has earlier also rejected these claims, and right now very strongly India has condemned and rejected these claims by the media reports by the Trudeau government, and calling them absurd and also motivated, whilst criticizing Canada for providing space to extremists and also anti-Indian elements, and accusing the Indian government for the same that is happening in Canada. And India had also recently recalled 6 diplomats from Canada after the Canadian government has identified them as persons of interest in the investigation into the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. So India is claiming that rather than taking these situations clearly, rather than taking care of the extremism and also the anti-Indian elements that are increasing in Canada very seriously, Canadian government, Trudeau government, is majorly focusing on accusing the Indian government for increasing and supporting these kind of activities that is happening in Canada, and on which India has given a very strong statement, including the MEA, that India is criticizing all these comments and rejecting all these comments. Yes, Simran.
All right, Mehendi, thank you for adding these details and in fact giving us the updates as far as the reports are concerned. Now, in fact, joining me live on the broadcast is Ambassador Suresh Goyal. Sir, in fact, the officials, the report which is being given the word as ludicrous by the MEA spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal, and the report was published by the Globe and Mail, which cited a senior Canadian national security who claimed that this Canadian security agencies believe Prime Minister Narendra Modi was aware of killing of Nijjar and other violent plots in Canada. What is in fact the intention when we talk about such kind of reports? The reports in fact are coming at this point of time, which we have to take in consideration that India and Canada ties are already very strained and in a dismal state, but the officials from the Canadian security agencies are now hell-bent on in fact making it worse for both the nations.
Imran, all that you have said is the situation on the ground. I'll just put it this way: as a diplomat or as a former diplomat who have worked in the field of carrying on the relationship between two countries, because India and the other countries, one thing I can say definitely: while MBA has denied all the allegations made by the Trudeau government and Trudeau himself, etc., we have denied all those things. The right thing would have been to let the investigations finish, investigations into the matter finish, before exposing it to the media. Taking it to the media and making these kind of allegations, which turn out to be difficult to prove later, in most facts are found, they do nothing but actually have a damaging impact on the relationship. Now, why Trudeau doing that is anybody's guess. But if Trudeau is interested in good relations with India, he would keep it out of the media and talk quietly about whatever his views are and whatever the facts, whatever the matter is, quite just like we are doing in the case of the USA. Little bit and quietly, without really creating a media sensation, which has a very damaging impact on the relationship. That's all I can say really. It's not desirable.
All right, Ambassador Suresh Goyal, thank you for giving us your time and in fact adding more perspective as far as India and Canada ties are being put in spotlight in the larger view of this report that has now in fact linked the involvement of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the killing of the extremist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. All right, viewers, that was all the news of the nation and the world. We'll continue to track all the other developments very closely on the other side. Till then, stay with us.
भारत माता की सुरक्षा में जिन सपूतों ने लहू बहाया है, उनके आश्रितों का दायित्व धामी सरकार ने उठाया है। मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी ने लिया है शहीदों के परिजनों को स्वावलंबी एवं आर्थिक तौर पर सबल बनाने का संकल्प, जिसके तहत सैनिक कल्याण की दिशा में कई प्रभावशाली एवं ऐतिहासिक निर्णय लिए गए हैं। सबसे पहले तो शहीद के परिवारों को मिलने वाली अनुदान राशि को बढ़ाया गया है, जिसके चलते अब बलिदानियों के आश्रितों को 10 नहीं बल्कि सरकार द्वारा 50 लाख की वित्तीय मदद दी जाएगी। इसके अलावा शहीदों के आश्रितों को सरकारी विभागों में नियुक्ति दी जाएगी। यही नहीं, सरकारी नौकरी के लिए आवेदन करने की समय सीमा को भी 2 साल से बढ़ाकर 5 साल किया गया है।
मैं किरण रतूड़ी, शहीद श्री राकेश चंद्र रतूड़ी जी की पुत्री, मुख्यमंत्री श्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी जी का आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, क्योंकि उनकी सरकार ने कहीं पर भी हमें अकेला नहीं पड़ने दिया। उनकी सरकार द्वारा हमें पूरा सहयोग दिया गया, वह सम्मान दिया गया।
इतना ही नहीं, उत्तराखंड में देश के पहले सैन्य धाम का निर्माण भी करवाया जा रहा है। साथ ही किया जा रहा है अग्निवीरों के लिए सरकारी सेवाओं में आरक्षण की व्यवस्था का प्रावधान। कहना गलत नहीं होगा कि उत्तराखंड में सैनिक कल्याण को पहली प्राथमिकता दी जा रही है।
मैं स्वाति भट्ट, शहीद भगवती प्रसाद भट्ट की पत्नी, आज उत्तराखंड सरकार का आभार प्रकट करना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि उन्होंने कभी भी हमें अकेले नहीं पड़ने दिया। सरकारी नौकरी करने का अवसर देकर उन्होंने हमें सशक्त बनाया, सुविधाएं दी, व्यवस्थाएं सुनिश्चित करी।
आज हम अपने घरों में, अपने प्रदेश में सुरक्षित हैं, सुरक्षित नींद ले रहे हैं, सुरक्षित चैन से जी रहे हैं, तो केवल और केवल उन्हीं के कारण से, जिन्होंने हंसते हंसते अपने प्राणों का बलिदान कर दिया।
जिनकी प्रत्येक सांस मां भारती को अर्पित है, उनके उत्थान के लिए उत्तराखंड सरकार समर्पित है। सूचना एवं लोक संपर्क विभाग, उत्तराखंड द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
Welcome back, viewers. Our focus remains to be on the key relations that India and Guyana have in fact agreed upon and agreed to ramp up the cooperation in the areas of defense, trade, energy, pharmaceutical and agriculture as Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Guyanese President Mohammad Irfan Ali have held extensive talks focusing on bolstering the overall relations. The two key sides inked to the agreements linking for providing for the cooperation in a range of sectors such as hydrocarbons, healthcare, culture and agriculture. In the media statement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said Guyana has and in fact played a very significant role in India's energy security and that a framework will be created for a long-term partnership between the two countries in the sector. The 10 MOUs that have been signed in Guyana's capital now included the possibility of the deployment of the unified payments interface like real-time payment system in Guyana, strengthening the cultural cooperation, collaborating and exchanging information in the field of regulation of medicines and supply of medicines through public procurement, agencies of CARICOM countries at the affordable prices. The visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Guyana after 56 years is an important milestone in the bilateral relations. All right, India, let's take a look at the kind of key pacts that India and Guyana have in fact so far agreed upon and signed the MOUs to look at enhancing the strategic partnership. And when we look at the key sectors which include health and hydrocarbons and the agriculture and defense, in fact, these are the key areas where India and Guyana have mutually agreed upon and formed the kind of arrangements and strategic partnerships to go forward. While we in fact talk about the pacts here, the MOUs are focusing on the cooperation in the hydrocarbon, which includes in fact the sourcing of crude, collaboration in natural gas, development of infra capacity and building. Remember viewers, when we talk about moving forward with the effectiveness of clean energy, in fact, these are the areas where both the nations are jointly mulling upon forming strategies and MOUs have been signed for a formal agreement as well. Now, in fact, while the key pacts are being given the spotlight here between both the nations who have also shared a cultural history, the MOU related to the agri and the allied sectors seek to promote the cooperation and through the joint activities exchanging the scientific materials. Now, the MOUs in fact also mention upon the agricultural pacts and also the sectors which include and aim at fostering the cooperations in the areas of digital transformation, which India is in fact banking upon when we look at development till 2017 through the capacity building and training of the programs. In fact, the MOUs put emphasis on these key areas, including building the digital infrastructure and also the training capacity and programs of the two nations, viewers. All right, viewers, now joining me live on the broadcast is my colleague Manohar Kesari. Manohar, we have just talked about how in fact both the nations have mutually jointly agreed upon the MOUs which are focusing a lot on hydrocarbons, clean and green energy as the world is moving forward with the changes that to be brought in the climate change and the climate synergies. These are the MOUs that have been in fact put focus on the hydrocarbons and the sourcing of crude. What are the key sector areas that both the nations are now in the few upcoming months looking at to strengthen the trade ties and the bilateral ties as far as the hydrocarbons and digital areas and synergies is concerned?
आज का जो MOU साइन हुआ है भारत और गयाना के बीच, ये काफी अहम माइलस्टोन है। अब भारत और गयाना का संबंध काफी जुड़ा है, बहुत ज्यादा साथ ही साथ जिस क्लाइमेट चेंज की हम बात कर रहे हैं, ये राजनीतिक क्लाइमेट चेंज एक मुद्दा रहा था। भारत ने पिछले साल जो G20 इंडोनेशिया में भारत से पहले जो G20 हुआ था, और पिछले साल भारत में जो G20 ये क्लाइमेट चेंज बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा रहा, और भारत लगातार इसे लेकर के सभी देशों के साथ लगातार बातचीत कर रहा है कि आगे बढ़ा, और इसी के करीब कुछ ये समझौता है हाइड्रोकार्बन को लेकर के, कार्बन इमिशन को कम करने को लेकर के, अपना रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी की बात लगातार भारत कर रहा है। तो ऐसी किया। दूसरा स्किल मैन पावर की बात, भारत ने कहा है कि गयाना के लोगों को हम स्किल डेवलपमेंट इसकी और आगे बढ़ाएंगे और लोगों को हम स्किल करेंगे। लेकिन भारत का एक अपना स्वतंत्र मंत्रालय है इसको लेकर के, और हमने देखा साल भी कई लोगों को भारत ने चयन किया और उसके बाद विदेश भेजा, जहाँ पर उनको जो है तो एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिला स्किल डेवलपमेंट को लेकर के। उसके बाद डिफेंस सेक्टर में स्किल लोगों की ट्रेनिंग को लेकर के कैसे हम लोगों को ट्रेन कर सके, ताकि गयाना का भी डिफेंस सेक्टर अच्छा हो सके और हम भी वहाँ पर एक मार्केट की तलाश कर सके। इसके अलावा फार्मास्यूटिकल सेक्टर, मेडिसिन हो गया, भारत जन औषधि केंद्र भी खूब खोलेगा। ये सारे 3 पॉइंट्स हैं इसको लेकर के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और गयाना के प्रेसिडेंट इरफान अली के साथ साथ तमाम डेलीगेशन के साथ बातचीत हुई है और MOU साइन हुआ है।
All right, Manohar, in fact, thank you for adding these details and sharing more light on the key pacts that India and Ghana have in fact mutually agreed upon. I'll also request my guest to join me live on the broadcast. Ambassador Suresh Goyal, the former diplomat, is joining me live on the broadcast, viewers. And now, in fact, a very good morning to you, sir. And in the light of the key pacts that have been shared mutually and the MOUs that have been put the emphasis on between the two nations, there seems to be a lot of positive outcomes that are on the table. As far as digital transformation is concerned, as far as hydrocarbons and synergies is concerned, and there is overall development between the ties of the two nations bilaterally is concerned. What is your, in fact, inference of how the MOUs have been signed? What are the key areas that, in fact, both the nations can pin upon for hoping for a better and developed, in fact, trade network in the coming years? Mr. Goyal.
Good morning, Simran, and good morning to the viewers. As the Prime Minister himself has mentioned, the visit to Guyana, which is taking place after how many years? More than 5 decades, if I am not mistaken, is indeed a milestone, simply because this is the first high-level visit really in the living memory of many of the people in either of the two countries. Now, relations between India and the Caribbean countries, whether it is Guyana, Dominica or Suriname, there are so many there, are particularly important because of the presence of the large number of people of Indian origin in those countries, and many of them in fact occupying high-level political positions. And therefore, the relationship between India and these countries is anchored not just on the specific areas of cooperation, which are of course important, but an understanding based upon civilizational history, based on how those countries have come to be what they are today, and the contribution of the people of Indian origin in economic and social growth of those countries. Added to that is another element where an MOU has been signed, and that is in the area of green energy. And green energy is important because many of these islands are particularly vulnerable to the climate changes, with the sea levels rising and submerging a large part of their land area. And therefore, I think the relationship between India and these countries has to anchor in the climate change cooperation, the cooperation in the area of agriculture and human resource development, and agriculture or agriculture-related activities beyond also the cultural ties and the people-to-people level ties.
Mr. Goyal, also when we talk a little bit more about the deep mutual trust that both the nations have agreed upon, and given the fact that in more than 50 years, this is the first visit by any Indian head of state to have been made to Guyana, what is your understanding of how there is going to be development and in what ways basically in the terms of pharmaceutical transformation and pharmaceutical areas where there have been MOUs that have been signed for pharma exports as well? How do you look to that development, especially given that now India is looking more into producing and manufacturing more of the pharmaceutical brands here within itself, so that they don't have to wait upon for any kind of a international aid or a medicine to come and first then give the treatment?
Yes. India is looked upon by these countries as a major pharmaceutical producing country and therefore a partner in the area of health facilities and the health provision. If you recall, during the COVID times, India had sent the vaccines and the COVID medicines to these countries, which were appreciated. Now, to manufacture pharmaceuticals in those countries is a win-win situation for both India and there. For India, it's an opportunity to invest in areas which are actually quite distant geophysically, and therefore where the distribution supply line can become quite extended. Therefore, it's a good idea to manufacture pharmaceuticals in these countries for consumption from those countries, as well as the areas near those countries. For example, even they could become a hub for supply of pharmaceuticals even for the Latin American countries. The pharmaceuticals manufactured by Indian companies in, say, Guyana or Dominica. So it's a win-win idea, and I think this is a good step in the direction of bilateral cooperation.
All right, Ambassador Suresh Goyal, thank you for adding these details and sharing the perspective, in fact, on how these developments and the key MOUs can be looked at. Now, moving on, my colleague Manohar Kesari has spoken to Karl Ashok Singh, who is a former Chief Justice and the present Chancellor of Judiciary of Guyana, over PM Modi's visit to the nation. Let's now listen in.
We have joined Chancellor of Judiciary from Guyana, Karl Ashok Singh. Sir, welcome in NewsX World. Today, you are in India and participating in 25th International Chief Justice of World Conference. How do you see this?
Well, it's a particular honor to be here. I have been attending this conference for many years in the past, and I can safely say the conference has grown from strength to strength.
Sir, this theme is governance for futures. So what do you see in futures the relationship between Guyana and India?
Oh, I believe that it will only get stronger, it will only get better. As you know, a large number of the descendants of original Indian immigrants live in Guyana, so the connection with India has always been maintained, and the connection between India and Guyana geopolitically has always been very good.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi went there, Guyana, and you also welcomed. After 56 years, any Prime Minister went there.
Well, indeed, the visit by Prime Minister Modi to Guyana is a signal event. I believe that I can say with confidence that all the people of Guyana, and as you know, Guyana is a multiracial society, but all the people of Guyana, particularly the Indian community, but all the people of Guyana are going to welcome Prime Minister Modi, because Prime Minister Modi has emerged as a leader on the world political stage and a leader who is dynamic and charismatic. So I think the visit augurs well for the geopolitical relations between Guyana and India, and that visit will only help to strengthen relations between India and Guyana.
India and Guyana, relation between both countries is the very oldest. 1832, one labor went there, and right now 40% of population of Guyana is India. Then, what are challenges there, and what do you demand from PM Narendra Modi?
I can't speak to the question of demands because I'm not a politician. I can only express a hope that the visit will strengthen cultural and political ties, perhaps. I can't speak to the question of demands, but it is my hope that the visit will help to strengthen the cultural relations between India and Guyana.
Your root is also in India?
Yes, my grandmother is from Lucknow. My maternal grandmother is from Lucknow. And my paternal and maternal grandfathers are from Bihar. My maternal grandfather is from Patna. And my paternal grandfather is from Siwan province in Bihar.
Sir, in future, what are challenges in geopolitical? Sir, right now, Ukraine and Russia war is going on. Israel and Hamas, Lebanon is going. What do you see, sir?
Well, the incidence of war and the threat of war is a troubling phenomenon. And, we have been speaking about world unity and global governance. But one of the burning needs for reform at the level of the United Nations is the Security Council. And you have countries like India with emerging strong economies, significant populations, and India does not have a vote. India does not have a voice in the Security Council. And I don't only speak for India, there are other countries which are also eminently qualified to take a seat at the United Nations Security Council. So until the Security Council stops being treated as a privileged boys' club, then we are going to have problems in the world. There is a burning need for reform at the level of the United Nations. Because right now, the United Nations is the one form of world government that we have. And we heard this morning that it's not working.
So, do you want India will be the permanent member of the Security Council of UN?
That is a burning wish of mine, and it's a personal wish.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks.
My pleasure.
With video journalist Sudhir Kesri.
All right, viewers, now, in fact, shifting our focus to more developing news. During the visit of Guyana, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a special session of the Guyanese Parliament on 21st of November. This will be the 14th such instance when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will speak on the behalf of the people of India in the parliaments of foreign nations. He holds the distinction of being the Indian PM with the highest number of addresses to foreign parliamentarians. All right, Manohar, as in fact you join me back on the broadcast, you have spoken to the key dignitaries of the nation, where in fact he also has very cultural and roots into India, and in fact the conversation that you have brought forward focuses largely over in fact how India and Guyana are looking forward to merge into more sectors of development. And while Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to address the special session of the Parliament, making it even more in fact extraordinary for the visit, what is the latest that we can expect right now in this regard?
बिल्कुल अब देखिए ये तो भारत की बहुत ज्यादा गर्व की बात है क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी गयाना की पार्लियामेंट में तो सेशन को ही संबोधित नहीं किया, बल्कि उन्होंने दो देशों के बीच के रिश्तों को मजबूत करने के लिए एक और चीज तैयार की। उनका ये तमाम भारतवासियों के लिए एक सम्मानित बात है। और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की बात करें एज अ प्राइम मिनिस्टर, तो उनका किसी भी विदेशी मंत्री से या कहते हैं अलग अलग देशों के 14 पार्लियामेंट सेशन को उन्होंने संबोधित कर चुके। अगर हम 2014 की बात करें तो 2014 में जब पहली बार प्रधानमंत्री बने थे तो 4 देशों के अलग अलग, चाहे नेपाल की बात हो, भूटान की बात हो, उन देशों के पार्लियामेंट को उन्होंने संबोधित किया। 2016 की बात करें तो 2016 में उन्होंने अमेरिका के कांग्रेस है वहाँ के जो ज्वाइंट सेशन को उन्होंने संबोधित किया। 2023 में भी जून में अगर आप देखेंगे तो अमेरिका के कांग्रेस को उन्होंने ज्वाइंट सेशन को संबोधित किया था। इस स्थिति में 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों के लिए काफी गर्व की बात है। और जब गर्व की बात है तो हमारे आर्थिक जो डेवलपमेंट है उसका भी एक पड़ता है, उसको भी आगे बढ़ाते हैं। हमारे जीडीपी पे, हमारे एक्सपोर्ट पे, इन सारी चीजों पे जो है तो आगे बढ़ने के लिए जो है तो एक मदद मिलती है। और जहाँ भारत की बात है तो भारत की जो इकोनॉमी की बात की जा रही है, 2047 तक भारत को विकसित भारत की बात की जा रही है और भारत को डेवलप कंट्री बनाने की बात की जा रही है। तमाम विषय को लेकर के अगर किसी भी विदेश के धरती में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी अगर संबोधित करते हैं तो भारत के विकास के लिए काफी अहम माना जाता है।
All right, Manohar, thank you for in fact adding more to this information that and the developing story that we are tracking very closely. Thank you for giving us this top of the important news break. Now, viewers, moving on, the Ministry of External Affairs has strongly dismissed a Canadian media report that linked Prime Minister Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and the NSA Ajit Doval to the killing of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The report alleged that PM Modi was aware of the plot to kill Nijjar in British Columbia, and MEA also added that the smear campaigns like this only further damage our already strained ties. The diplomatic clash between the two nations started with the Canadian PM Justin Trudeau's decision to publicly accuse India of being allegedly involved in the assassination of Nijjar last year without providing hard evidentiary proof to India. India also recalled 6 of its diplomats, including the High Commissioner, and expelled as many as Canadian envoys after Canada's claims. The diplomatic spat escalated to unprecedented levels when Canada dragged Home Minister Amit Shah into its allegation. All right, now joining me live on the broadcast is my colleague Mehdi Garg to share more details. Mehdi, India has very strongly dissented over the reports which have linked to the killing of Nijjar with in fact the information that was given by the Indian top leadership. How exactly is in fact more reactions onto this dissent over this report by the Canadian authorities is coming?
Well, indeed, Simran, big developments are coming on, India and Canada's diplomatic relations, and India has strongly condemned the Canadian media reports in which it has been allegedly accused that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was aware of a plot to kill pro-Khalistani separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada, calling the claims ridiculous and also urging their dismissal with the contempt they deserve. And also the Ministry of External Affairs, the MEA, has dismissed the allegations, highlighting that such smear campaigns only serve to further damage the already strained ties between the two countries. And not only this, the MEA spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal, in his statement and also taken to his X platform, has posted an official comment saying that India do not normally comment on media reports, but however, such ludicrous statements have been made to a newspaper reportedly by a Canadian government source should be dismissed by India, and India is, condemning these statements by the Canadian reports with the contempt they deserve. And also these smear campaigns like this only further damage the already strained ties between the two countries. And apart from that, this statement follows a report by the Canada-based Global and Mail, which attempted to link the death of the NIA-designated terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar to the Indian government. And also the report cited a senior Canadian national security official alleging that Canadian security agencies assert that PM Modi had knowledge of Nijjar's death and other violent plots in Canada. And Simran, this is a very big and a very huge allegation that have been put by the Canadian.
जिसे बनाने में किसी भारतवासी का पसीना बहा हो, उसे खरीदने पर जोर देना चाहिए, और ये सबके प्रयास से ही संभव होगा। वोकल फॉर लोकल हमें व्यवहार में लाना ही होगा।
देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के वोकल फॉर लोकल के आह्वान से प्रेरित उत्तराखंड सरकार इस दिशा में हर महत्वपूर्ण कदम उठा रही है। प्रकृति, संस्कृति और विरासत को अपने अंदर समेटे उत्तराखंड में बने प्रोडक्ट एक ब्रांड के रूप में उभरते जा रहे हैं। उत्तराखंड सरकार द्वारा ग्रामीण उद्यमियों एवं कृषि उत्पादों को भी राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों से जोड़ने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। उत्तराखंड सरकार द्वारा लॉन्च किया गया हाउस ऑफ हिमालयास ब्रांड क्षेत्र के प्रामाणिक हस्तशिल्प उत्पादों को बढ़ावा दे रहा है। वहीं उत्तराखंड देश का पहला राज्य बन गया है जिसे एक दिन में सबसे अधिक 18 GI टैग मिले। ये सभी प्रयास उत्तराखंड सरकार के वोकल फॉर लोकल के प्रति प्रतिबद्धता का प्रमाण है। लोकल उत्पादों को अपनाकर हम न केवल उत्तराखंड की विरासत को सहेज रहे हैं बल्कि स्थानीय लोगों को आर्थिक रूप से सशक्त भी बना रहे हैं। आइए इस त्योहार स्थानीय उत्पादों को अपनाकर उत्तराखंड की प्रगति में अपना योगदान दें और साथ मिलकर एक आत्मनिर्भर और समृद्ध उत्तराखंड बनाएं।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी। अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी। अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी। अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त।
Welcome back, viewers. Now let's start the bulletin with the focus on the developing story of this hour, where a massive fire has broken out at a factory near Tarapur, MIDC in Palghar district. Upon receiving the information about the blaze, fire tenders have rushed to the spot. Currently, the fire officials are present at the spot and efforts to douse the fire are also underway. Visuals from the site show huge plumes of smoke rising from the factory. There have been no casualties or the injuries that have been reported from the site of the fire or confirmed as of now, but in fact, the efforts to douse the fire are underway. All right, viewers, joining me live on the broadcast to share more details is in fact Daryl. Daryl, what is the situation that has been maintained at this point of time from the point where in fact the fire has broken out in the factory in Palghar district? What is in fact the department is saying to you?
Today early morning, a massive fire broke out at a factory in Maharashtra's Palghar district near Tarapur MIDC. Right now, the situation is under control. Early morning, when the fire broke out, the fire officials and the press were present at the spot and efforts to douse the fire were underway. And now, right now, the present situation is under control. We can see in the visuals from the side show huge plumes of smoke rising from the factory. No casualties or injuries have been reported from the incident as yet, and the reason for the fire is yet to be ascertained, and further details are awaited. Early morning at around 7 to 7:30, this massive fire broke out in Palghar, Tarapur MIDC. It is said that it was a chemical factory, but no details are confirmed yet. And right now, the situation is under control, and there are no casualties or injuries in this.
All right, Daryl, thank you for in fact adding these inputs which are tracking from the ground. Now, in fact, it's time to move to other developing news breaks that we are tracking very closely. Amid deteriorating AQI in the national capital, BJP national spokesperson Shehzad Poonawalla has said that today Delhi has become a gas chamber. AQI has crossed nearly 400 and Grab 4 is in force, while breathing here has become the most dangerous thing. Every one person in every family of Delhi NCR is suffering from air pollution or is sick or has respiratory problems. Kejriwal has brought Delhi to such a state in 10 years. Earlier, he used to say that it was Punjab's stubble burning. Today, there is a government in Punjab. More than 10,000 incidents of stubble burning have also occurred. But not a single word on this. Sometimes they blame Uttar Pradesh and Haryana government, while sometimes they blame the Diwali. Diwali has gone. If there is still solution, if there is still pollution persisting, then why is it? Let us now listen into the comments that in fact have come.
दिल्ली आज जिस प्रकार से गैस चेंबर बनी है, AQI 350-400 पार, ग्राफ 4 लागू है और यहाँ पर सांस लेना सबसे खतरनाक काम हो चुका है। और एक सर्वे, एक स्टडी बताता है कि दिल्ली NCR के हर परिवार में, एक परिवार में कोई ना कोई व्यक्ति एयर पोल्यूशन से ग्रसित है, बीमार हो चुका है, रेस्पिरेटरी प्रॉब्लम्स या अन्य प्रॉब्लम उसे हो रहे हैं। इसका मतलब साफ है कि 10 साल में केजरीवाल ने दिल्ली को ऐसा बेहाल किया कि अब हर परिवार पर संकट आया हुआ है। और इसका मुख्य कारण क्या है? पहले तो पंजाब की पराली बताते थे, आज पंजाब में सरकार है, पराली 10,000 घटनाएं से ज्यादा जलने की आ चुकी है, इस पर एक शब्द नहीं, बायोडिकम्पोजर पर एक शब्द नहीं। यूपी और हरियाणा को दोष देते हैं, कभी दिवाली को दोष देते हैं। दिवाली तो चली गई, अभी भी प्रदूषण है, तो क्यों है? दिवाली का कोई लेना देना नहीं था। सवाल यह बनता है कि 10 वर्षों में आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार ने यहाँ के अंदरूनी कारण जो है प्रदूषण के, उस पर कोई काम नहीं किया, केवल भ्रष्टाचार किया स्मोक टावर के माध्यम से।
All right, my colleague Mehndi Garg joins me live on the broadcast. Viewers, Mehndi, it seems like the AQI issue has now created another series of political slugfest. Now, where a report has come giving the figures, in fact, of how every one person in a family is requiring to see a doctor due to the rising pollution levels, and these reports only cite the kind of situation that has been maintained due to the rising pollution in the national capital, where Shehzad Poonawalla has hit out at the Aam Aadmi Party government, which has been maintaining that they have done all the right measures to be taken in this regard of decreasing the pollution.
Well, indeed, Simran, there are reasons. Their reasons are many, but the pollution problem is one, and the politics over this is increasing day by day. And right now, we can also hear the war of words that is happening between the Bharatiya Janata Party and Aam Aadmi Party. And right now, we heard BJP's leader Shehzad Poonawalla, who has targeted the Delhi's government, Aam Aadmi Party government, of not taking care of this situation very seriously. And also, he said that the situation that is being observed in the Delhi NCR is deteriorating very fastly, and right now Delhi government is not taking appropriate measures to combat this problem. And also talking about the parali, it can be observed as one of the major reasons for this problem, the air pollution increasing day by day. And also BJP has released some reports claiming that the cases of parali burning in Punjab this year has increased in comparison to the previous years, and per day above the number of 1,200 parali cases is being observed in Punjab. But right now, Aam Aadmi Party government is not taking Punjab as consideration, as there is Bhagwant Man's government, Aam Aadmi Party's government. So yes, the politics over it is increasing day by day, and several reports are saying also that the health problems is increasing in the people of Delhi right now, whether it's the breathing problem, the coughing issues, the skin related issues, and also there is itchiness in eyes, and the hospitals are reporting a lot of reports regarding regarding it, and people are facing a lot of problem due to the increasing air pollution and the bad air quality. But right now, the major concern of the political parties is to do the blame game, because both the parties are accusing each other. And we heard Aam Aadmi Party's leaders, whether it's the Chief Minister Atishi, whether it's the other leaders, they are accusing the central government for not taking proper cognizance for the parali burning that is happening in Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. But in their statements, Punjab is not there, and they are claiming, as in Aam Aadmi Party is claiming, that the number of parali burning in Punjab due to the Aam Aadmi Party government has decreased this year. But
all right, Mehndi. In fact, we understand that political slugfest has stirred a fresh controversy. Joining me right now live on the broadcast is Congress leader Udit Raj. Sir, very good morning to you. What seems to be, in fact, unfortunately, a bigger a civil issue has now turned into a political slugfest between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP at this point of time. But ahead of the Delhi Assembly elections, it is a problem of the common man. It is a problem of anybody like you and me who have been severely getting impact of the rising pollution levels, with in fact cases being now surfacing from every home. While nothing has been done largely to control the levels, these are the sustainable measures which the government needs to take, but unfortunately only politics is being done. All right, viewers, in fact, while we try to restore that connection in just a bit, it is important to understand that Shehzad Poonawalla, the BJP spokesperson, has in fact now attacked the Aam Aadmi Party government, who has been maintaining that there are stage 4 grab measures that have been put in place, and in this regard, in fact, the government is trying to also put the measures which are going to impact in terms of reducing the pollution levels, while it's also ordering the institutions and the colleges to go online or to shift into the online mode, or the private institutions to work from home. It is in fact not giving the reliable and the desirable impact as Delhi continues to breathe poison. All right, Udit Raj is a former Lok Sabha MP as well, joining me live on the broadcast. Very good morning. What it seems to be in fact unfolding is only political slugfest out of this pollution civic issue, which is every year, but at the same time ahead of the Delhi Assembly elections, it seems to be the only bigger issue which at large needs to be tamed. Mr. Raj.
See, where is the Environment Minister, Mr. Bhupendra Yadav? Have you ever asked such question that where is he? Isn't it the responsibility of BJP as well to look into this, that increase the pollution level is so much that it's not livable? And of course, Aam Aadmi Party is not going to do anything. So what about where the Prime Minister is living? And BJP government is a center, and all the ministers, the Environment Minister, they are in Delhi, they are not seen. And Mr. Bhupendra Yadav is always busy retweeting tweet of Mr. Modi, Amit Shah. What is his job? At the global level, they give a lot of lectures on climate, etc. What happened when it comes to practice here in Delhi?
Mr. Udit Raj,
have you seen Bhupendra Yadav doing anything? He is the Environment Minister of the country.
But at the same time, what it seems to be unfolding is of no impact. There are band-aid measures, but the national capital continues to choke. And at this point of time, in your opinion, in fact, what is the Congress also doing at this point of time as an opposition in the national capital?
We are not in power that you ask a question. Let me tell you that I'll go back. When diesel buses were plying on Delhi roads, and carbon emission was so high, the people clothes used to get blackened, and it was Sheila Dixit who got it done away, who cleaned it and replaced all the buses of diesel buses by CNG, and the whole environment got clean. That was also time we have seen it. I was a student at that time in Jawaharlal University. I know that it was traveling by scooter or traveling by car it was a hell at that time. So an example I am giving you that what Congress has done. If the Congress government had been today either in Delhi or at center, things would have been different. But we don't have opportunity. We don't have a power to do.
What is the measure that you are currently suggesting at this point of time?
I'm not environmentalist.
All right.
But only thing that there are a lot of measures, everybody knows it, but I'll suggest one thing, that I am very perturbed with the civil society.
Sir, as politics is continuing to break out at this point of time, it is important that even as a part of the political party...
Let me complete that. What is the civil society for? Those who are suffering, why are they not protesting? what RW are doing, what NGOs are doing, what civil society is doing, what intellectuals are doing. So what happened then? It's their duty also to come out and make the protest that what is happening. I'll just ask the question, and you guys should also ask the question that what is the citizen responsibility? Besides that, of course, Aam Aadmi Party, BJP are not going to do anything, but at the same time, there is a responsibility of citizens. And we have a conscious citizen here, educated citizen.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, Congress's Udit Raj in fact says that it is the government's responsibility at Delhi, and which obviously is a matter of contention here, which the BJP is also attacking the Delhi government for maintaining the measures that can bring in a sustainable relief. Now, in fact, moving on to get more updates, a massive collision took place between a truck and a double-decker BSU due to the fog and overtaking of the truck under the Tappal police station on the Yamuna Expressway in Aligarh. 5 people have been reported dead and other 15 have been injured travelling in the bus. The other 15 people have been admitted to the nearby Kailash Hospital in Jewar for further treatment. Post-mortem of disease has been done. All right, viewers, joining me live on the broadcast is Pradeep Pundir, who's from the UP colleague who has joined me live on the broadcast. प्रदीप, ये क्या घटना है जिसमें 5 लोगों की मौत हो गई है, जो एक्सीडेंट है, कोलिजन हुआ है और इंजर्ड को अभी हॉस्पिटल में भर्ती कराया गया है? जो आई विटनेस है या जो अटैक, जो कोलिजन के सर्वाइवर्स हैं, क्या उनसे पता लग रहा है कि किस तरीके से ये इतनी बड़ी घटना हुई है और अथॉरिटीज़ का क्या कहना है?
देखिए, पूरी घटना तकरीबन रात 1:30 बजे की है। जो बस है वो दिल्ली से आजमगढ़ जा रही थी, डबल डेकर बस है, और ये यमुना एक्सप्रेस पर टप्पल के पास में एक ट्रक था, वो भी दिल्ली की तरफ से आगरा की ओर जा रहा था, पीछे से टकराई है। कंडक्टर साइड थी वो इसमें लगी है। जिस समय यह घटना हुई उस समय ज्यादातर जो यात्री थे वो सो रहे थे, और जो प्राइमरी जो पता चल रहा है कि घटना का कॉज क्या है, तो वो कॉज निकल के आ रहा है कि जब ये बस ड्राइवर ओवरटेक करा था उस समय उसको हल्की सी नींद की झपकी आई और झपकी की वजह से ये हादसा हुआ। हादसे में 5 लोगों ने अपनी जान गंवाई है, जिनमें से 3 जो पुरुष है, 1 बच्चा है और 1 महिला है। बाकी जो 15 घायल है उनको जेवर में एक निजी हॉस्पिटल है, वहां पे एडमिट कराया गया, जिनमें से 3 की हालत गंभीर है। फिलहाल जो पुलिस ऑफिसर है वो ये बता रहे हैं कि वहां से जो बॉडीज है वो पोस्टमार्टम के लिए अलीगढ़ लाई जाएंगी, और उसके बाद में जो मृत के परिजन है उनको सूचना दे दी गई, वो भी यहाँ अलीगढ़ पहुंच रहे होंगे। क्योंकि जो घटना का जो प्राइमरी जो कॉज निकल के आ रहा है वो ये कि घटना जो है ड्राइवर की नींद में आने से, झपकी आने की वजह से ये घटना हुई है। जी सिमरन।
प्रदीप, और पुलिस का क्या कहना है जो उस समय घटना स्तर पे थे, जिस तरीके से ये कोलिजन हुआ है? पुलिस का इस पूरे मामले की जांच में ऐसी क्या डिटेल्स देना है जिसकी वजह से समझ आ रहा है कि क्या ये एक्सीडेंट अवॉइड भी किया जा सकता था?
देखिए, यमुना एक्सप्रेस पे जो रफ्तार है वाहनों की बहुत तेज होती है, वहां पर कोई ना रोकने टोकने वाला नहीं होता है, खासकर रात के समय जब क्योंकि एक्सप्रेस वे है वहां पर कोई फोर्स वगैरह नहीं होती। लेकिन कल अलीगढ़ का जो एरिया पड़ता है जहाँ पर ये घटना हुई है, यहाँ पर कल मतदान था, तो पुलिस ऑफिसर और तमाम जो सुरक्षा कर्मी है, स्वास्थ्य कर्मी की बात की जाए, वो चुनाव में बिजी थे, और चुनाव प्रक्रिया संपन्न होने के बाद में वो लोग थोड़ा रिलैक्सिंग मूड में थे। लेकिन जब ये घटना घटी, घटना के जो यात्री थे वहां से यात्रा कर रहे थे, उन्होंने जो हेल्थ का जो नंबर होता है, इमरजेंसी नंबर, उस पर कांटेक्ट किया, तो विद इन 5 मिनट्स वहां पर एम्बुलेंस और पुलिस की टीम पहुंची थी, तो उन्होंने रेस्क्यू किया। फिलहाल जो पुलिस ऑफिसर ने कहा है कि जो घटना के पीछे जो मेन कॉज है वो यही निकल के आ रहा है, कहीं ना कहीं ड्राइवर की लापरवाही या झपकी आने से हादसा हुआ है। जी सिमरन।
All right, Pradeep, thank you for adding these details and in fact giving us the confirmation over the kind of details that you are fetching on this horrible incident. Now viewers, it's time to shift our focus to other developments that we are tracking very closely after senior Congress leader P. Chidambaram's social media post on X in the favor of regional autonomy for Manipur's different ethnic communities within the state. Now, the Manipur Congress leaders have written a letter to the All India Congress Committee President Mallikarjun Kharge seeking the action against them. In a now deleted post on X, Chidambaram has stated that deploying 5,000 more CAPF personnel is not the answer. He has in fact written that instead it is more wisdom, acknowledging that Biren Singh, the Chief Minister of Manipur, is the cause of the crisis and removing him immediately is in fact the solution. It is more statesmanship for the Honorable PM to give up his obstinacy and visit Manipur and speak to the people of Manipur with humility and learn first-hand their grievances and aspiration. The Congress leaders also reiterated their party's commitment to the unity and the integrity of the state and condemned the contents of the post by Congress senior leader P. Chidambaram. Nibir, in fact, joins me live on the broadcast to share more details in this regard. Nibir, what is the letter that has been addressed to the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge reads, in fact, and importantly, has there been any sort of a reply to that letter from the High Command of the Congress leadership?
Well, this incident has escalated when P. Chidambaram had put up a tweet on his social media handle stating that the Manipur crisis is to be blamed to the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, and following which the Chief Minister had responded stating that that the Congress government's negligence has caused the current issue in Manipur. And after that, we saw the Manipur Congress has urged the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge to take action against Chidambaram over the X post, and they have also urged the party president to tackle this issue because the post was controversial and the post was later deleted. However, the Congress leaders have condemned the content of the post regarding the Manipur crisis, and they have also reiterated the party's commitment to the unity and the integrity of Manipur using prompt action against the former Union Finance Minister.
All right, Mohammed. Major Mohammad Ali Shah is joining me live on the broadcast. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, very good morning to you. And at this point of time, the controversy over Manipur's situation and the tensions due to the violent clashes has now seemed to have engulfed into a political controversy after the social media post of Congress senior leader P. Chidambaram. Now, the issue has been addressed to the Congress leadership and in fact the High Command now over the kind of comments that have been made by P. Chidambaram. What is that at this point of time you are able to understand in terms of the suggestions that have been given by P. Chidambaram in its now deleted post?
Well, Simran, we have stretched the Manipur violence way too long, that we will have people now commenting and such thing, which is, I will not say whatever comments, irrespective, be it P. Chidambaram, be it Mallikarjun, be it anyone, be it, I see the fact is we have to take interest, full focus. That should actually be the nation's first priority to resolve it. How we resolve it? There is no problem in the world that can't be resolved. I understand the wounds are too deep. But by not being able to resolve, by the failure of our machinery to resolve the crisis, the people from Manipur, when I say the people of Manipur, I mean the Meiteis and the Kukis, they would feel left out. And we would give room for people to talk about it. People who, a lot of tongues would waggle. You cannot stop the tongues of people. One has to first get our own house in order. Only when we get our own house in order can we think of other things. So yes, there is going to be controversy. It's but expected. I am not justifying any controversy, but I am saying, why is it that we have not been able to resolve the Manipur crisis? There is a very crucial role of an interlocutor, okay, who gets both the communities together for a dialogue and who looks for peace and he gets them to talk. But has it been happening? We should ask ourselves, has it actually been happening? It could be happening, I don't know, but we are not aware. I'm not aware at least. And you know it, I mean, your channel knows it, many other channels know it. People from all over, they know that there are certain people who are genuinely concerned and deeply involved with the state of affairs in Manipur, right? If they are taking so much of interest, if they would not be aware of it, you can imagine the condition of a common person there. See, it's very simple. A simple Meitei wants peace, a simple Kuki wants peace. Nobody wants to sleep at night with a thought, oh, whether it's so uncertain, whether we will wake up or not.
There would be village volunteers guarding us. There would be what's going to happen, and which means village volunteers means obviously, I mean, you are not having enough faith in the security forces. Security forces, I do not mean only army, Assam Rifles, CRPF or police. People who are meant to guard you. That's why you have kept an additional guard right there to guard yourselves. So we have, that should be the nation's first priority. Unless and until we solve that, we cannot think of anything else. But how can we neglect Manipur? How can we neglect the most beautiful part of our country? How can we neglect the most beautiful people? We cannot do that. We have to understand and realize it ourselves. It's very easy to point a finger at, oh, so-and-so is controversial, so-and-so has put a controversial thing. People will, foreign countries, unfortunately, they will take advantage of our position. They will, foreign nations who do not wish well for India will take advantage of our position. So we cannot afford that. I would urge the government, I am sure the government is making efforts, I am sure they're concerned. But the fact is, I study for my exams 18 hours a day. Whole day I study. But I end up failing in my exams. Not justified. I do not study 18 hours, I spend only 2 hours. But 2 hours of full concentration. I show the desired results. What matters is the results. Where are the results? Yes, yes, sir.
All right, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, in fact, thank you for giving us the perspective to look at this controversy which is breaking out after the post by Congress senior leader P. Chidambaram on social media post X suggesting the regional autonomy for the ethnic communities of Manipur. Now, viewers, we are going to develop and track more developing news on the other side. Till then, stay with us.
भारत माता की सुरक्षा में जिन सपूतों ने लहू बहाया है, उनके आश्रितों का दायित्व धामी सरकार ने उठाया है। मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी ने लिया है शहीदों के परिजनों को स्वावलंबी एवं आर्थिक तौर पर सबल बनाने का संकल्प, जिसके तहत सैनिक कल्याण की दिशा में कई प्रभावशाली एवं ऐतिहासिक निर्णय लिए गए हैं। सबसे पहले तो शहीद के परिवारों को मिलने वाली अनुदान राशि को बढ़ाया गया है, जिसके चलते अब बलिदानियों के आश्रितों को 10 नहीं बल्कि सरकार द्वारा 50 लाख की वित्तीय मदद दी जाएगी। इसके अलावा शहीदों के आश्रितों को सरकारी विभागों में नियुक्ति दी जाएगी। यही नहीं, सरकारी नौकरी के लिए आवेदन करने की समय सीमा को भी 2 साल से बढ़ाकर 5 साल किया गया है।
मैं किरण रतूड़ी, शहीद श्री राकेश चंद्र रतूड़ी जी की पुत्री, मुख्यमंत्री श्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी जी का आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, क्योंकि उनकी सरकार ने कहीं पर भी हमें अकेला नहीं पड़ने दिया। उनकी सरकार द्वारा हमें पूरा सहयोग दिया गया, व सम्मान दिया गया।
इतना ही नहीं, उत्तराखंड में देश के पहले सैन्य धाम का निर्माण भी करवाया जा रहा है। साथ ही किया जा रहा है अग्निवीरों के लिए सरकारी सेवाओं में आरक्षण की व्यवस्था का प्रावधान। कहना गलत नहीं होगा कि उत्तराखंड में सैनिक कल्याण को पहली प्राथमिकता दी जा रही है।
मैं स्वाति भट्ट, शहीद भगवती प्रसाद भट्ट की पत्नी, आज उत्तराखंड सरकार का आभार प्रकट करना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि उन्होंने कभी भी हमें अकेले नहीं पड़ने दिया। सरकारी नौकरी करने का अवसर देकर उन्होंने हमें सशक्त बनाया, सुविधाएं दी, व्यवस्थाएं सुनिश्चित करी।
आज हम अपने घरों में, अपने प्रदेश में सुरक्षित हैं, सुरक्षित नींद ले रहे हैं, सुरक्षित चैन से जी रहे हैं, तो केवल और केवल उन्हीं के कारण से, जिन्होंने हंसते हंसते अपने प्राणों का बलिदान कर दिया।
जिनकी प्रत्येक सांस मां भारती को अर्पित है, उनके उत्थान के लिए उत्तराखंड सरकार समर्पित है। सूचना एवं लोक संपर्क विभाग उत्तराखंड द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
NPS वात्सल्य, ये किसने दिया?
ये हमने दिया है। सभी चाहते हैं अपने बच्चों की आज की नहीं, कल की जरूरतों को भी पूरा करें। इसीलिए हमने चुना है NPS वात्सल्य, जो सालाना 1000 रुपए के निवेश से भी शुरू हो जाता है।
NPS वात्सल्य आप 18 वर्ष तक के बच्चों के लिए ले सकते हैं, जो 18 वर्ष बाद खुद ही NPS अकाउंट में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा।
इसीलिए कहता हूँ, हर उम्र के लिए NPS जरूरी है।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर, या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
You're watching NewsX. I'm Rishabh Gulati. The elections in Maharashtra and Jharkhand have concluded. Let's have a look at what all the numbers from the exit polls are telling us from first Maharashtra. Here we have it. P-Mark, Matrix and People's Pulse. P-Mark is giving a very confused mandate, 137 to 157. Remember, the halfway mark is at 145, which means P-Mark says Mayuti, the incumbent BJP-led, has the advantage of forming the government, but at the top end, the MVA at 146 could also form the government. Very large range has been given of 20 seats, but they are discounting the others at only 2 to 8 seats. So not a factor of the rebels over here, not the factor of the others. It's going to go to one alliance or the other. Large range, and 145 lies within the range of both. So they've hedged their bets, but the advantage is to Mahayuti. Now, this completely changes when we go to Matrix. Matrix is predicting a clear victory at 150 to 170 for the Mahayuti, 145 being the halfway mark, with the MVA only coming up with 110 to 130 and 8 or 10 seats going to the others. So Matrix says Mahayuti wins it outright, forms the government as a pre-poll alliance. By the time we get to People's Pulse, this goes in an extreme advantage of Mayuti. This in fact is predicting a thumping win, a wave election in favor of the BJP-led incumbent alliance at between 175 to 195 seats, with the MVA getting only 85 to 112 and the others getting between 7 and 12. So what is the median average? If you take the median average of all of these, this is where you end up in the poll of polls. 164 for the BJP-led incumbent Mahayuti, 118 for the MVA and about 6 seats for the others. So the exit poll of polls, believe in their accuracy or not, are suggesting 164 with 145 being the requirement to form a government. So the poll of polls is predicting a Mahayuti win and the return of the BJP-led alliance in government in Maharashtra. Now, let's have an examination of the poll of polls that have come out from the state of Jharkhand. Remember, the halfway mark is just past the 41-45 situation. Look at what the situation of the three polls is. Once again, we have People's Pulse, JVC and Matrix who have done the exit polls from Jharkhand. People's Pulse is telling you that the BJP is between 44 and 53, so comfortably past the halfway mark of 41. The Indy Alliance, this is both the JMM and the Congress between 25 and 37 and the others knocking off between 5 and 9. JVC says 40 to 44, so close, could be too close, but most likely BJP alliance wins. The Indy bloc performs slightly better. I'm assuming the vast majority of the seats probably for the JMM between 30 and 40 and only one other contestant likely to win. Matrix says no, it's still a government for the BJP, 42 to 47 for the BJP, 25 to 30 for JMM Congress alliance and the others between 1 and 4. Now the median of these three polls is telling us, with the halfway mark at 41, that the BJP alliance is going to get government formation in Jharkhand with 45 seats, well ahead of what they require to form a government. That the Indy bloc is going to fall short by 10 seats with only 31, and there will be 5 others who, by this median poll of polls, will not be in any kingmaker position whether they join one side or the other. That's the poll of polls, all the numbers out from Jharkhand so far. All right, let's open up this conversation to our guests joining us to analyze this. Yes, take all the exit polls with a pinch of salt. Yes, by all means, be aware that heck, the American pollsters keep predicting Donald Trump is going to lose and he keeps winning. But Himanshu Bhatt joining us on the broadcast. Priya Sehgal, our editorial director, is with us on the broadcast as well. I'm expecting Rishi Bagri, Mukesh Tyagi of the BJP, Piyush Joshi to be with us also. Let me start with Priya. Priya, here we are. Now the elections are over. It's been a confusing election. I think Maharashtra has been really confusing. Jharkhand perhaps slightly more predictable. We don't know who's where, who's been fighting from whom. We don't even know if the pre-poll alliances will remain what they were come on 23rd November. But now you've seen the exit polls. What's your first reaction?
Rishabh, I think the exit polls also, as you said, take them with a pinch of salt, but they do give an edge to the NDA-led combinations where the BJP is, and that does seem to be the trend, starting from, I think, Haryana, post Lok Sabha, they seem to have got their mojo back. So let's, take them exit polls on face value and, looking at the trend on the ground. Also, I think that Lok Sabha high of the opposition has come down a bit, even in terms of the campaign grounds. I was there in Maharashtra and Mumbai, and even there I saw, people who had earlier on given the election to the Mahavikas Aghadi were now, looking back and saying that, these guys have a chance of winning on campaign ground. They were talking about the state leadership. They were talking about the BJP-backed governance model. So in that sense, I think the narrative, all these things do affect, even though the Maharashtra election was a silo, Jharkhand was a separate silo, but there is a dominant narrative that does tend to influence. So given that, I can see the narrative keeping up in our exit polls also, the ones that we have just read out and talked about.
But Priya,
so
it felt like, I'm sorry to ask you this question, I don't know if it felt like the same to you. It felt like a much more quieter, localized election than we've seen the past 11 years. Did you feel the same?
Or even it was not so much on the headlines, because also the national campaigners kept away. We only had Prime Minister Modi, not even in the end, because he went off on that trip, international trip. So he was
Brazil,
just there
Guyana,
towards the end. He did set a narrative in Maharashtra, 9 rallies. He talked about ek hai to safe hai. But it wasn't, centered around Modi. It wasn't, even Haryana was not really centered around him, I must say. So in that sense, I think local polls are coming into their own, local issues, local leaders. It was more about Eknath Shinde's governance versus Uddhav Thacker's, even though no side had actually put up a CM face. But it was given that, they were talking about local candidates rather than even Rahul Gandhi stayed clear. I think he learned a lesson from Haryana. He was not campaigning so much. In fact, if anybody from the Congress, it was Mallikarjun Kharge who was leading the narrative, taking on Yogi Adityanath, taking on the Prime Minister. Issues were local. It was all about the Mumbai Metro, the Dharavi slums, the projects going to Gujarat. So in that sense, I think it is a very, very local election that happened. And at the end of the day, we see the polls results coming out. I think, and I have to say also that Eknath Shinde in Maharashtra did do a pitch in terms of delivery. There was a lot of talk of him as someone who delivers. I think he has managed to recover some ground and come into his own.
Okay, interesting thoughts. Chanakya also reporting its figures now. They're also giving a pretty convincing victory to the Mahayuti at between 152 and 160 seats, with the MVA coming at 130 to 138. That now revises the poll of polls to 162 for the Mahayuti, comfortable government by a margin of 17 seats. The MVA at 122, short of 23, and 4 others, with the halfway mark being at 145 in Maharashtra. Himanshu Bhatt, your first thoughts?
Sir, I do not believe in this exit polls. From last few years, they have been proven wrong. And that's a fact of life. So as you said, take it with a pinch of salt, all right. But what I am more interested in seeing is the total amount, the total percentage of voting in Maharashtra. If it's going to be something like 2019, which is 61 point something, if it touches that, then I don't foresee Mahayuti, that is BJP-led alliance, along with Shinde, minus Pawar. Let's put it, I'm putting it very, very clearly here. We are talking in terms of BJP, Eknath Shinde, Seva Sena, 2 getting about 145 seats. So what happens is, Ajit Pawar, whether he wins 15, whether he wins 20 out of 46,
he becomes inconsequential in forming the government. And that is what the mandate is going to be. And that is where what will happen is, on one side, one NCP will be decimated, one Sena will be decimated.
Okay, all right. I'm going to take quick reactions from everyone, because yes, it should be taken with a pinch of salt, but nobody should be predict anything, but we love to predict everything. Okay, this country has a large belief in astrology, so we do feel we can predict things. Maybe the pollsters are relying a bit too much on astrology than science, because polling is probably a bit of an art along with a bit of science. But let me take thoughts from across the board before I come back. Piyush Joshi, your thoughts?
My thoughts are pretty simple. Both the elections are too close to call, irrespective of the numbers that the exit polls are predicting. I have my reasons to believe so, because the voter of Maharashtra still stands confused. He was very unhappy when the Lok Sabha elections took place, and the voter did express his anger in the results of the Lok Sabha elections against the incumbent government. However, I think that the Mahayuti has recovered a little bit of ground, but has it recovered enough to form a government? Interesting times ahead. Because which Sena to vote for. I'm a Sena voter, but which Sena to vote for right now? Whether to vote for Shinde Sena or Uddhav Sena. Now, same is the case with which NCP to vote for, this power or that power. So ultimately it boils down to the local candidates, and exit polls, if they are proven right in this particular case, I think they will regain some credibility. Because Haryana, they were clearly predicting the win for Congress. And these are the states, both Jharkhand as well as Maharashtra, too close to call. The voters are still confused, which is my party, and which is my candidate. So interesting times ahead. I personally believe that we should not be surprised come what may the results are. Jharkhand, I still give a little bit of edge to the India Alliance. I see that the India Alliance is going to pull through, but again, both these states too close to call.
You're hopeful that the Congress performance will be slightly better. Maybe Hemant Soren is hanging in, and his time in jail is actually turned into time with sympathy. Let me take quick reactions. Rishi Bagri with us. Rishi ji, what are your thoughts on the exit polls as we have them? We've got 5 agencies out there now.
So, Rishabh, my thought is very similar to the lot of all the polls, all the panelists, that I don't believe in the exit poll nowadays. After what happened in Haryana, all the 7 exit poll got wrong badly. So one thing is very clear, that the exit poll, let's wait for the actual result. But then if the thing, what I can foresee is that the polls are very close, and BJP has recovered a lot of lost ground vis-a-vis the 2024 Lok Sabha election. I mean, the MVA got 31 seats and BJP Alliance got 17 seats. So they have recovered, and they are doing better than what this MVA is going to do. So that's for sure, because all this thing, freebies and everything has actually working wonders for them. Secondly, what I think is that the voting percentage, which is very important, because that used to be 60-61%. Now, till 5 PM, it was around 58-59%. So around about 6% may go up. Then there's a small adjustment, 1 or 2% happens. So if it goes to 65%, it's a historical, turnout, which is going to happen in Maharashtra. If that happens, then anything can happen. We may see some sort of sweeping of the election.
Okay, so I was going to ask you this question. Is it going to be a sort of a hodgepodge, pretty hung, very close election, or do you expect maybe this time it will be a sweep one way or the other? It might be a wave election.
No, it will be a wave election. If 65%, if we are looking the voting turnout to be around about 64-65%, you need to understand 4% is a very big difference is going to make. And then there are a lot of, there's issues with the Congress, because Congress had the best strike rate in the Lok Sabha, and it was forced to, it actually got the least numbers of seats. It used, if you just superimpose the Lok Sabha election to the Vidhan Sabha, it's supposed to get 140 seats, but the main batsman in the MVA is fighting with the only 100 seats. So you can imagine what they have done. They have done a hit wicket by not giving Congress more seats. I think that's the
but
that's a very big
maybe
thing which
Uddhav
is
Thackeray
happening.
thinks he's the main batsman because he's in to return as chief minister. I'm sure that's the assurance that's been made to him. I don't think a Prithviraj Chavan or somebody else has been running to become chief minister again. Let me get Mr. Tyagi of the BJP in before I come back to all of you. Or have we just lost him at that point? So Priya, let me come back to you on the issue of Jharkhand. Okay, we've discussed Maharashtra. We'll come back to Maharashtra. On the issue of Jharkhand, is that slightly more predictable because all the polls again are one-sided?
Okay, Rishabh, though Mr. Tyagi is there.
Yeah, I'll come back to him in just a minute. Take that thought. Priya.
Okay. Regarding Jharkhand, yes, I think the fight is close, and someone talked about a sympathy wave also for the current chief minister. I think that would have played a role also. But BJP has really been putting all in it. We had Hemanta Biswa Sarma sitting there. We had Amit Shah making a lot of trips over there. So knowing how good they are at management, they also announce a lot of stops for the tribals. All this, how it plays out on the ground. I didn't go to Jharkhand, but they have a way of managing narratives. So it will be very interesting to see whether it's the emotional support for a chief minister who we also going to be seeing their ED policy, which is going to be coming into play. Has the opposition managed to make a stand clear how they are misusing the ED and the CBI for their political gains? So I would actually be very interested to see the the Jharkhand result, given that prism in mind, as to whether the BJP manages to come just by the sheer force of narrative. They don't have a very a high profile face, or they've got their parties made for turncoats mostly. So will they be able to actually turn the narrative around, or will the state go in for an emotional vote and stay loyal to this chief minister, and the current vote will still hold?
Okay.
So Jharkhand will be very interesting.
Okay, I won't get into the numbers with you, Mr. Tyagi, because you are of course hoping that you're forming the government in both the states with a comfortable majority. So I'm going to ask you a practical question. This time around, starting with Maharashtra, have you been more successful in coordinating with the RSS, perhaps better so than in Lok Sabha elections?
No, it's evident, Rishabh, that RSS has been very, very proactive in comparison to the previous elections. RSS had put its full might, and there was a perfect coordination between Eknath Shinde and BJP in terms of sheet sharing, in terms of this joint strategy. If you have seen, there was not even a single joint rally by Mahavikas Agadi. None of these people came together. So the fractured Mahavikas Agadi is visible to the people, and people of Maharashtra are sick and tired and fatigued by this unstable government. Since 2019, there has been 3-time chief ministers and 4-time deputy chief minister and 3 elections. So people are absolutely fatigued. Now I remember that the theory of relativity, that where does the future of the Maharashtrians lie? Now it's a very clear equation that Bharatiya Janata Party with its ally offer the stable government and politics of development. So that is where people have now started making it very clear that they need to make a clear choice, and then they resorted to this. 1 second, let me just complete. This Sajan Numani's statement, then gas cylinders to the infiltrators. So, this kind of diabolic statement made by and endorsing, they did not even denounce them. So, the people have understood that this is a divisive party, and I'm sure very jalebi manufacturer will be very disappointed with the outcome of this election on 23rd.
Okay, all right. On that slightly satirical note, hang a second, because I want to update our viewers watching this telecast with more of the data that is coming from the exit polls. We're just putting all of them out there so you can make your own best guess rather than just saying one is right and the others are wrong. That's just foolish. So this is Jharkhand. Let's go back to Jharkhand for a second. Okay. So now there are 5 agencies whose data is out. One is People's Pulse, JVC, Matrix, PMark and Access by India. Now when I read out the polls, we were at People's Pulse giving 44 to 53, so majority BJP. JVC giving 40 to 44, so majority pretty much BJP. Matrix giving 42 to 47, majority BJP in Jharkhand. But now PMark and Access by India have come out with the opposite story. Look at what PMark says. PMark says 31 to 40 for the BJP and 37 to 47 for the India Alliance, which is Congress and Soren basically, which would mean a pretty significant advantage for the India Alliance to form a government and Hemant Soren returning as chief minister. This is what PMark says. Access My India is calling it a wave election. Access My India says this is going to be a thumping return for Hemant Soren with 53 seats and the BJP and its allies only getting 25. So now what has happened is, if you just do mathematics, the median average of all the polls has come to a hung parliament. The poll of polls now says 39 BJP alliance, 38 Soren and Congress, and 4 others now become kingmakers. Okay. So you are seeing one agency go to a complete extreme of predicting a wave in favor of Hemant Soren and the return of Hemant Soren. Let me get our guests back into this conversation as we are educated by more numbers. Priya, as always, exit polls all over the place. I don't see any consistency. The last time we saw consistency was probably in Haryana, and nothing of what was consistent actually ended up happening. So are these exit polls, sort of just going with the wind? What do you think is happening here?
I think exit polls are also being a little cautious. Only one sticking its neck out is again Axis, and he's got it wrong twice. So anyway, you don't want to go on the exit polls. I think they are being cautious, but Hemant, let's just look at what it means if Hemant Soren comes back. That's going to be a huge, shot in the arm, not just for the India Alliance and the opposition, but also the kind of politics that he played versus the kind of politics the BJP has played. Because there, the politics, as I was saying, of misusing ED, etc., was very much an election issue on the ground over there. Also, if he wins, and again, are we going to be talking about the role Congress plays? Because it's again an alliance regional party that has taken on the BJP-led alliance and come out winning, as opposed to when there is a direct fight between the BJP and the Congress, which is in Haryana. Both in Maharashtra and in Jharkhand, there are regional parties that are going to be taking on either the BJP or a group of allies of the BJP. So, if for Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi, also Mahavikas wins in Maharashtra, again we can say that, which is also one reason why Rahul Gandhi stayed away from the campaign. He was not, in the Maharashtra, he was not an avid campaigner. He didn't make himself the face of the campaign. It was mostly Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar, and the tacit understanding which was told to the voters is, should it come back, then Uddhav will be probably the CM face. So the veracity of the Congress, the credibility of the Congress is something we can discuss if the opposition manages to win.
Okay, let's take it for a second, Himanshu, but at face value. Let's take it for a second that one polling agency says, no, this is a wave. Hemant Soren has got the sympathy wave, okay, and the people are now coming out for Hemant Soren. Primarily, maybe the Congress does a little bit better, but primarily Hemant Soren. If we take it at face value, could that be a scenario that actually is worked in his favor, going to jail?
It could be, if that is the right thing. If the results come out that way, the way they are predicting. But that's what I say, we take it with a pinch of salt. And I don't expect that, I don't expect that, because the narrative on the other side, which nobody seems to be discussing, and which was the narrative which they played from the day one. BJP played that narrative of infiltrators, immigrants, illegal immigrants, and Adivasis. When you talk of Vanvasis, when you talk of Adivasis, you talk of Jar, Jameen and Juru. Now that has played a very, very big role. Hemanta Biswa Sharma, right from the day one, was clearly saying we are going to throw all these Bangladeshis out, who have taken over, who have changed the demography of so many seats. And they even counted about 20.
Okay, can we go back to Jharkhand for a second? Because I promised you that we are not going to, sort of pick one and hope our guy gets it right. Okay, we're going to put all the numbers out there, all right? Because it's foolish to say that, we've got it right and 7-8 others have got it wrong when the polls are all over the place. So I'm going to add another figure. This is Chanakya now for Jharkhand. Can we put this figure out, please? Chanakya for Jharkhand. I'll read it out while my producers are putting it on your screens. So Chanakya also picks BJP for a win, and a clear win between 45 to 50 seats. So now you have 6 poll agencies reporting their numbers. 4 of them are reporting advantage or clear win for the BJP alliance. 1 is reporting a near hung with advantage to the India alliance of Soren and Congress. And 1 is reporting a thumping win, that is Access, a thumping win for Soren and the Congress, and a wave election completely destroying what the BJP
जिसे बनाने में किसी भारतवासी का पसीना बहा हो, उसे खरीदने पर जोर देना चाहिए और ये सबके प्रयास से ही संभव होगा। वोकल फॉर लोकल हमें व्यवहार में लाना ही होगा।
देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के वोकल फॉर लोकल के आह्वान से प्रेरित उत्तराखंड सरकार इस दिशा में हर महत्वपूर्ण कदम उठा रही है। प्रकृति, संस्कृति और विरासत को अपने अंदर समेटे उत्तराखंड में बने प्रोडक्ट एक ब्रांड के रूप में उभरते जा रहे हैं। उत्तराखंड सरकार द्वारा ग्रामीण उद्यमियों एवं कृषि उत्पादों को भी राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों से जोड़ने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। उत्तराखंड सरकार द्वारा लॉन्च किया गया हाउस ऑफ हिमालयास ब्रांड क्षेत्र के प्रामाणिक हस्तशिल्प उत्पादों को बढ़ावा दे रहा है। वहीं उत्तराखंड देश का पहला राज्य बन गया है जिसे एक दिन में सबसे अधिक 18 GI टैग मिले। ये सभी प्रयास उत्तराखंड सरकार के वोकल फॉर लोकल के प्रति प्रतिबद्धता का प्रमाण है। लोकल उत्पादों को अपनाकर हम न केवल उत्तराखंड की विरासत को सहेज रहे हैं, बल्कि स्थानीय लोगों को आर्थिक रूप से सशक्त भी बना रहे हैं। आइए इस त्योहार स्थानीय उत्पादों को अपनाकर उत्तराखंड की प्रगति में अपना योगदान दें और साथ मिलकर एक आत्मनिर्भर और समृद्ध उत्तराखंड बनाएं।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी। अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
Welcome back, viewers. Now our focus remains on the honor that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is being granted. Dominica has conferred its top award on Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his contributions to the Caribbean nation during the COVID-19 pandemic and his dedication to enhancing the bilateral partnership between India and Dominica. Honored to be conferred with the highest national award by Dominica, I dedicate it to the 140 crore people of India, wrote PM Narendra Modi on the post on X. Guyana and Barbados will also confer their top awards on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, bringing his tally of international honors to 19. All right, viewers. Now, in fact, what we need to understand at this given point of time, that the kind of awards previously have been won by and conferred on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So far, when Saudi Arabia was in the past granted the highest civilian order of Saudi Arabia, which was given to the foreign dignitaries, and this was the award that the order of King of Abdullah Aziz, in fact, gave to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. These are some of the glimpse of the kind of awards that have been won and the kind of accolades, in fact, also been cherished by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his visit to the foreign nations, while strengthening the bilateral ties and enhancing the cooperation on the areas of the strategic partnership. In Afghanistan, state order of the Ghazi Amir Amanullah Khan, in fact, presented the highest civilian honor of Afghanistan to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And while we talk about Palestine, where the Order of State of Palestine, the highest civilian honor of Palestine, was also given to PM Narendra Modi. This was the third nation. Now move forward with Maldives, where the Order of Izzuddin, where in fact the highest civilian order of Maldives was also granted and awarded to foreign dignitaries, where in fact Prime Minister Narendra Modi also received that award. And in Arab Emirates, the Order of Zayed, which is the highest civilian order of the UAE, which was granted to PM Narendra Modi. And in Bahrain, in fact, the third highest civilian honor of Bahrain was given and was conferred upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The pictures can be seen here. And when we talk about, in fact, the United States, the Legion of Merit, the Chief Commander, highest degree of the Legion of Merit was given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. These are some of just the list of the awards that have been won and that have been given so far. In Fiji, the highest civilian order yet again was conferred upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And apart from Afghanistan, Maldives and in fact Palestine, this is the new Guyana award which was given. It is another the highest civilian honor, in fact, of the award, apart from all these nations where the foreign visits have been made for trade and bilateral diplomatic ties. These are the awards which have been given to PM Narendra Modi for, in fact, the areas that India also under the leadership of PM Modi has worked to enhance the cooperation in these regions and these nations. And when we talk about enhancing, in fact, the bilateral ties and strengthening the relationships, these awards are just a kind of a glimpse. When we talk about Egypt also, there as well highest civilian honor was granted to PM Narendra Modi. All right, viewers, now joining me back on the broadcast to share more details is my colleague Manohar Kesri. Manohar, what in fact remains to be at this point of time the biggest takeaway that we can understand from this visit and very crucial visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Guyana, and the kind of MOUs that have been also signed, and there are several awards that have been also conferred over Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the past, and now highest civilian honor yet again as the award is given. The address have also been made by PM Narendra Modi. What is the biggest takeaway that we can understand?
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी का ये जो दौरा है बहुत ज्यादा अहम माना जा रहा है और दो पर्सपेक्टिव है इसका। एक, आप देखिए प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को, चाहे कैरेबियाई देशों हों, डोमिनिका हों, या फिर हम बात करें गुयाना की बात करें, या फिर हम सूरीनाम की बात करें, या अदर कंट्रीज की बात करें, सभी लोगों ने, या बारबाडोस की बात करें, और आप देखिए किस तरह से लोगों ने प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को अपने हाथों पर बिठा करके रखा है, अपने देश का जो सर्वोच्च सम्मान है उससे नवाजा है। तो एक तो ये बात हुई कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी सभी के सहायक हैं जो विश्व नेता के रूप में जाने जाते हैं, और कैरियाई देश का जो समिट हो रहा है उसमें भी ये देखने को मिला है। दूसरी बात है कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी गयाना में वहां की संसद को उन्होंने संबोधित किया है, और प्रधानमंत्री विश्व के पहले ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री हो गए हैं जो अलग अलग देशों में विदेशी धरतियों में वहां के संसदों को उन्होंने संबोधित किया है। अब तक 14 संसद को के लिए गर्व की बात है, 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के लिए ये गर्व की बात है। इतना ही नहीं, अगर आप
All right, Manohar, thank you for adding more to it. I'll request you to kindly stay on with me on the broadcast, while we also get Sanjeev Srivastava, who's an international affairs expert, joining me live on the broadcast. Sir, in your opinion, the kind of visit that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has so far made to foreign nations, enhancing cooperation and strategic partnership, it remains to be of a very important significance that this particular visit is beyond just the cooperation and the trade ties. He in fact has been making the impression that the countries are also conferring the highest civilian order awards to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which in turn in fact is reflected upon the kind of warm welcome that India extends to its allies and the nations where the relations are only deepening. What are the key takeaways that you understand from the pacts that India has signed so far with Guyana?
Well, I think this is a very a significant visit Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has undertaken in Guyana, and as you said very correctly, that our ties with Guyana is very special because there is a huge community of Indian origin people there. About 40% of their population is of Indian origin, and the present head of the state, Irfan Ali, and his forefathers have been from India. And 180 years back, Girmitia laborers, they went to Guyana, and they went as laborers, but they have now occupied a leadership position, prosperous position. And Simran, it is also a fact that Guyana is at this point of time is the one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And this country has enormous energy resources, as well as there is a lot of areas of where India and Guyana can collaborate. Like if I just mention a few, like food security, science and technology, innovation, agriculture, like key sectors where India and Guyana are going to be collaborating. And when both the leaders have met, Prime Minister Modi and Guyana's head of state Irfan Ali, there have been several agreements which have been signed, and with this kind of cooperation and understanding, I'm sure that the India-Guyana relationship will attain higher trajectory in times ahead, and India in particular will seek our greater collaboration with Guyana in a field of energy. Oil resources are enormous in Guyana, and India would like to have a greater cooperation with Guyana. And obviously, in that process, India will be benefited with regard to our energy security. At a time when you are facing so much of turbulence in the Middle East region, this region of Guyana could also become one of the sources from where we can buy oil. Obviously, there's enormous benefits India is going to gain. But at the same time, I would say that India is also extending its full cooperation and support for the building of Guyana as a nation. And we are going to be collaborating with them. As I said, that Guyana is one of the fastest growing economy in the world, but India is the fastest growing major economy in the world. India is the largest democracy on the planet, and India also provides voice to the voiceless nations. Like we have provided our full support to the countries of the global south, and because of our support only, you saw that in Rio de Janeiro G20 summit, African Union participated as a full member. So I think India has been giving support to the low and middle income countries, and those countries which did not have a much voice in the global affairs. India is obviously providing our support to the Caribbean nations, and in this visit in Guyana, Prime Minister Modi is also participating in the second India-CARICOM Summit. And this CARICOM Summit is a very significant platform, and from which India is deepening its collaboration with the various Caribbean nations of the world. And as I said, that our relationship with the Caribbean nations are special. And with all the Caribbean nations, it is a very special relationship, because a lot of people from India, they went to Caribbean nations, and they are not only doing their work, but they are leading that country. They have become prime minister, presidents, various top leadership positions they have acquired in multiple sectors. So I think the Caribbean countries, they also want to deepen our ties, and the ties is a very historical one. Cultural connectivity is there. So I think there is an enormous possibility for the India-Guyana relationship in particular to grow, and India's relationship with the Caribbean community, for which also enormous possibility is there. So I'm sure that in times ahead, with this kind of a visit and this kind of a summit which Prime Minister Modi is participating, obviously our ties with the Caribbean nations will further strengthen. And in particular, if I talk about Guyana, he has got a very grand welcome there, and I'm sure that after this visit, our ties, our deep ties with Guyana will further get deepened, and it will be beneficial for both of our nations.
All right, Sanjeev Srivastav, in fact, how you are mentioning the deepening ties of India with the Caribbean nations in regards to the pacts that have been signed, and the focus on the kind of MOUs that have been also mutually agreed upon. Thank you very much for giving us your time, and in fact giving this more understanding about what in fact this MOU and the relationship of India and Guyana finally means. All right, shifting our focus to other developments, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also congratulated the Indian hockey team on winning the Women's Asian Champions Trophy. PM Modi also said that their win will motivate the upcoming athletes. India won the Women's Asian Champions Trophy 2024 after beating China in the final in Rajgir, Bihar. All right, Manohar Kesri joins me live on the broadcast. It seems to be a very arousing, in fact, moment for the Indian women hockey team, where the congratulatory message is coming from none other but the head of the state, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is also congratulating the team and saying that their success is going to motivate all the other players, and congratulated the contingent of the Indian women hockey team. Manohar.
हाँ जी
महिलाओं ने एग्जिट कर लो, इसको लेकर के देशवासियों में खुशी की लहर है। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने भी उन तमाम खिलाड़ियों को बधाई दी है और कहा कि ये जो जीत है ये एक अभूतपूर्व जीत है, फेनोमेनल अकॉम्प्लिशमेंट है। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने किस तरह से हौसला अफजाई की है, और उन्होंने कहा है कि इन्होंने पूरे टूर्नामेंट में जिस तरह से खेला है वो काबिले तारीफ है। अच्छा प्रदर्शन उन तमाम महिला जो है सो हॉकी चैंपियन ने किया है, और साथ ही साथ उन्होंने ये बात कही है अपने एक्सपोस्ट पे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने कि जो अपकमिंग एथलीट्स होंगे, जो अपना भविष्य जो है तो हॉकी में बनाना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए उनकी ये सफलता जो है, जो ये कप उन्होंने जीत करके लाया है, ये उनके लिए प्रेरणा का स्रोत रहेगा। जी
All right, Manohar, thank you for adding more to, in fact, this congratulatory message that has come from Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the Indian hockey women team contingent. Now, moving on, the Patiala House Court has issued warrants of the attachment of Delhi's Bikaner House, an immovable property owned by the Nagar Palika of the state of Rajasthan. District Judge Vidya Prakash passed the order, noting that the Nagar Palika had failed to satisfy the arbitral award passed against it in the year 2020. The order was issued because the council failed to pay 50 lakh rupees to the Enviro Infra Engineers Private Limited. As per an arbitral award, the court order prevents Nagar Palika from selling or transferring the property in any way. It has also asked a representative from the Nokha Nagar Palika to come to court on November 29, the next date of hearing. Well, the council has failed to follow the court instructions is what we are given to understand. At this given point of time, Delhi court orders the attachment of Bikaner House. This is the latest that we are tracking in the controversy of the order that has just come. Bikaner House is attached over the arbitral dispute. All right. All right, viewers, joining me live on the broadcast is my colleague Sambhav Sharma. Sambhav, at this point of time, Delhi court has attached the Rajasthan's Bikaner House to settle the disputed, arbiter orders. An arbitral award of nearly 51 lakhs in favor of the private company is what we are given to understand. What is this entire matter on which, the Delhi court has given the order? This is the Patiala House Court which has given such a verdict. What is this private company also? Give us more perspective.
Matter relates to our 2020 arbitral award in which this company, basically Delhi's Bikaner House is to be attached now, as the court has ordered the attachment of this house, the Bikaner House. This matter was in Patiala House Court, in which Patiala House Court's District Judge Vidya Prakash ordered this and passed it after Nagar Palika has failed to satisfy the arbitral award of 2020. And what is this arbitral award of 2020? In this 2020 arbitral award, the owner of Bikaner House will have to pay 50 lakh to Enviro Infra Engineer Private Limited. So that was an arbitral award which they'll have to pay the owners of Bikaner House, which is one of the Nagar Palikas in Rajasthan. So they failed to pay 50 lakhs to the company called Enviro Infra Engineer Private Limited, and finally the appeal was made, and the Patiala House Court in this has issued warrant for the attachment of Bikaner House.
All right, Sambhav. Thank you for adding more to, this news break that we are tracking very closely. Now shifting our focus to other developing important news piece that we are tracking. The Ahmedabad crime branch city has arrested one person named Zishan Datta Pawale with nearly 1.3 kgs of MD drugs worth 1.3 crores and 2 weapons, while 40 live cartridges and 18 lakh rupees have been recovered from the area. The accused is a history sheeter. The legal process is currently ongoing as well. All right, viewers, joining me for more, is my colleague Jayesh Soni. Jayesh, the crime branch of Ahmedabad has made a fresh arrest as far as the narcotics illegal cartel trade is concerned, and it is the amount being given is nearly 1.5 crores, and even the amount is 1.5 kgs approximately. How exactly the crime branch has got the input to nab the accused here, and what after the investigation has come out in the regard of the entire nexus that has been going?
बिल्कुल, जो मैं आपको बता दूं तो ये जो नया जो मामला है वो 1.5 किलो जितना एमडी ड्रग्स पकड़ा गया है। इसके अंदर जो है आरोपी के पास से वेपन्स और लाइव कार्टिज भी बरामद की गई है और 18 लाख रुपए कैश बरामद किए गए हैं। मैं आपको बता दूं कि कल ही जो है अहमदाबाद क्राइम ब्रांच ने 55 लाख रुपए का एमडी ड्रग्स पकड़ा था। इसके बाद ये दूसरा जो है कंसाइनमेंट जो है पकड़ा गया है। क्राइम ब्रांच के द्वारा ये सफल ऑपरेशन किया गया है। मैं आपको बता दूं कि पिछले कई दिनों से गुजरात पुलिस जो है जो ड्रग्स के मामले हैं उसके अगेंस्ट में काफी सख्ती से कार्रवाई कर रही है। चाहे सूरत पुलिस हो, अहमदाबाद हो, राजकोट पुलिस हो या अलग अलग जगह की जो भी पुलिस और एटीएस सहित की जो भी एजेंसी है वो ड्रग्स के मामलों को पकड़ने के लिए काफी सक्रियता से काम कर रहे हैं। इसके साथ साथ मैं आपको बता दूं कि अभी कुछ ही दिनों पहले पोरबंदर के समुंदर से जो है बड़ी मात्रा में ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई थी जो कि ईरान से आ रही थी। तो गुजरात जो है नो टॉलरेंस नीति अपना रहा है ड्रग्स के खिलाफ और पुलिस ने बहुत ही सख्ती से इस जो ड्रग्स के कारोबार है और ड्रग्स का जो ट्रैफिकिंग है उसके खिलाफ जो है एक प्रकार से मुहिम चला रखी है, जिसका नतीजा ये हुआ है कि 2 दिन में 2 बड़े कंसाइनमेंट अहमदाबाद क्राइम ब्रांच ने जब्त किए हैं। आरोपियों को पकड़ा गया है। अभी और ज्यादा पूछताछ उस आरोपी से की जा रही है और साथ ही ये भी आपको मैं बता दूं कि और भी कई लोग इस कारोबार के साथ जो इन्वॉल्व है उसको पकड़ने के लिए पुलिस ने काफी टीमें बना रखी है। मुंबई सहित अलग अलग जगहों पर टीमें भेजी गई हैं और आने वाले समय में और लोगों की गिरफ्तारी भी इस मामले को लेकर के हो सकती है।
All right, as you are also telling us that more people could be traced and arrested in this regard of the investigation that's currently underway by the crime branch of the Ahmedabad as far as tracking the last point of this entire huge cache of the drug nexus is concerned. Now viewers, time to shift our focus to other developments. The Biden administration has announced that it will give Ukraine anti-personnel mines to help it slow Russia's battlefield advances, marking the second major shift on US military support for Kyiv in many days. After following Ukraine to use longer range American missiles to launch the strikes deeper into Russia, US Defense Secretary Lord Austin has said that the shift in Washington's policy on anti-personnel landmines for Ukraine was needed to counter changing Russian tactics. Moscow's bigger army is slowly pushing Ukraine's forces backward in the eastern Donetsk region. While Ukrainian civilians are being maimed and killed by Russian drones and missiles often fired from inside Russia. Biden administration officials say they are determined to help Ukraine as much as possible before he leaves the office. And they announced that the US intends to cancel half of the debt of some 4.6 billion Ukraine owes to the country. Now, State Department spokesman Matthew Miller has said that US lawmakers were informed of the move this week and that he does not expect them to pass a resolution of the disapproval to try to stop the loan forgiveness because of the bipartisan support for Ukraine in the current Congress. Let's now listen into what he has said.
You heard the Secretary of Defense speak to earlier today that we are providing the Ukrainian government with non-persistent anti-personnel landmines. We have been providing them with anti-tank landmines for some time, but this is the first time we are providing them with anti-personnel landmines. There are a few things that I think are important to note about this new provision of equipment to the Ukrainians. One is that, as you have heard the Secretary say many times, we always adapt and adjust our policies based on real-world events. And the real-world events that we have seen are Russian advances, specifically Russian infantry advances in eastern Ukraine. And these non-persistent anti-personnel landmines are designed to blunt those types of infantry advances. They are very different from the landmines that the Russians have deployed and that you have seen other militaries, including our own military, deployed decades ago. The landmines that the Russians have deployed in Ukraine, and there are somewhere around 2 million landmines that the Russians have deployed, will remain a threat for decades. Can go off at any time and harm not just soldiers but civilians, and will long outlast the conflict. What that means is they are battery powered and they have a battery, and they can be set. The battery will expire somewhere between 4 hours and 2 weeks, at the most 2 weeks from when they are deployed. So the landmines will be deployed, and then within 2 weeks, if they have not been detonated, they become inert. So they will not pose a threat to the civilian population at the end of the conflict. Now, that said, they also have a high metal content, so they're easy to detect and easy to remove. And we know Ukraine is going to have to conduct an operation at the end of the conflict to remove unexploded ordnance already, both from the 2 million landmines that Russia has deployed, as well as other unexploded ordnance. They have already been conducting that type of operation in some of the territory that they have recaptured, and the United States is committed to provide them $284 million.
All right, my colleague Belly Thomas joins me live on the broadcast on this very important news break, where in a major policy shift, the United States has in fact decided to send the anti-personnel mines to Ukraine for the first time. And this is in fact a very important news break that we are confirming, as Secretary of Defense Lord Austin has confirmed yesterday only. The decision is coming just days after the US gave Ukraine permission to fire long-range US missiles at targets in Russia, and a shift that only occurred months after the Russia-Ukraine lobbying from Kyiv. Now, Belly, in fact, in this important breakthrough, what is the latest that you're tracking from, in fact, Ukraine? Has there been any response generated after this major policy shift has yielded some positive days for Ukraine? All right, viewers, now let's also quickly get across to Rahul Gandhi, Congress leader, holding a press briefing. Let's cut across and get the live visuals.
राहुल जी आपको संबोधित करेंगे. राहुल जी, you can remove that mic. Good morning. It's now pretty clear and established in America that Mr. Adani has broken both American law and Indian law. He's been indicted in the United States and law and Indian law. He's been indicted in the United States, and I'm wondering why Mr. Adani is still running around a free man in this country. Chief ministers have been arrested. Jharkhand chief minister was arrested. Many people have been arrested. And Mr. Adani has done apparently 2,000 crore scam, multiple others probably, but he's scot-free. He's running around. There's no problem. There's no investigation. And we've been raising this again and again and again. We've been raising it with the Madhvi Buch issue. We've been raising it, and it's a vindication of what we've been saying. The Prime Minister is protecting Mr. Adani, and the Prime Minister is involved in corruption with Mr. Adani. This has been clearly indicated. So, हिंदी में बोल देता हूँ. नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने एक नारा दिया, एक हैं तो सेफ हैं. इंडिया में अदानी जी और मोदी एक हैं तो सेफ हैं. हिंदुस्तान में अदानी जी का कुछ नहीं किया जा सकता. चीफ मिनिस्टर 10-15 करोड़ के लिए अंदर चले जाते हैं और अदानी जी 2000 करोड़ रुपए का स्कैम करते हैं और वो बाहर घूम रहे हैं. कारण है कि प्रधानमंत्री उनको प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं. अमेरिका में अब
ऑडियो नहीं आ गया सर.
हाँ, अदानी पावर, मोदी पावर, पता नहीं कौन सा चल रहा है, बट दोनों एक हैं। अमेरिका में इंडाइटमेंट हुआ है अदानी जी को, 2000 करोड़ रुपए का स्कैम है। हिंदुस्तान में उन्होंने क्राइम किया है, अमेरिका में क्राइम किया है, ये अमेरिका के इन्वेस्टिगेशन ने कहा है, मगर हिंदुस्तान में अदानी जी के खिलाफ कुछ नहीं हो रहा। और ये हम मांग बहुत दिनों से कर रहे हैं, अदानी जी का अरेस्ट होना चाहिए, आज अरेस्ट होना चाहिए। माधवी बुच जो हैं, जो उनकी प्रोटेक्टर हैं, जिन्होंने कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन नहीं किया, उनको हटाया जाना चाहिए, उन पर इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए। आपके सवाल हो तो पूछिए। वन बाय वन।
मंडे से संसद का शीतकालीन सत्र आरंभ हो रहा है, क्या नेता प्रतिपक्ष के तौर पर आप व्यक्तिगत तौर पर इस विषय को उठाएंगे लोकसभा के
नहीं,
अंदर?
देखिए, हम इस मुद्दे को उठा रहे हैं। मेरी जिम्मेदारी है एज एलओपी इस मुद्दे को उठाना। प्रधानमंत्री जी 100% इस व्यक्ति की प्रोटेक्शन कर रहे हैं, और इस व्यक्ति ने हिंदुस्तान के एसेट्स लिए हैं, भ्रष्टाचार करके एसेट्स लिए हैं। ये व्यक्ति बीजेपी को पूरा समर्थन करते हैं, पूरा सपोर्ट देते हैं। ये एस्टैब्लिश चीजें हैं, हम दोहराते जाएंगे। जेपीसी की मांग हमारी है, बट हम चाहते हैं कि अदानी जी को एकदम अरेस्ट किया जाए। और हम जानते हैं और हम देश को दिखाना चाहते हैं कि अदानी जी की अरेस्ट नहीं होगी, और इसलिए नहीं होगी क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री अदानी जी के पीछे खड़े हुए हैं और उनके प्रोटेक्टर हैं। आप लोग, हिंदुस्तान के युवा, आप लोगों को रोजगार नहीं मिलता, महंगाई बढ़ती जाती है, छोटा सा कोई क्राइम करता है जेल चला जाता है, मगर अदानी कुछ भी कर ले, हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री और एक नेटवर्क, जिस नेटवर्क को हम एक्सपोज करके देश को दिखाएंगे। ये एक व्यक्ति नहीं है, ये अलग अलग पोजीशंस में लोग बैठे हुए हैं, और एक एक करके हम आपको दिखाएंगे ये कौन लोग हैं। माधवी बुच का हमने आपको क्लियरली दिखाया है, और आगे भी हम आपको रिवील करेंगे ये लोग कौन हैं जिन्होंने हिंदुस्तान को हाईजैक किया है।
राहुल जी, यही पूछना चाह रही थी कि जेपीसी की मांग पर क्या विपक्ष के तमाम पार्टियों से भी आपकी बात हुई है? इस पर आप कोशिश करेंगे आने वाले सत्र में?
जेपीसी इज इंपॉर्टेंट, जेपीसी होनी चाहिए, मगर अब सवाल यह है कि अदानी जी जेल के बाहर क्यों हैं? अगर कोई भी क्राइम करता है तो नरेंद्र मोदी का कहना है वो उसको अंदर कर देते हैं, और ये जो व्यक्ति हैं जिनको अमेरिकन एजेंसी ने कहा है कि इन्होंने क्राइम किया है, और अमेरिकन एजेंसी ने कहा है कि इन्होंने हिंदुस्तान में क्राइम किया है, ब्राइब्स दी हैं, पावर को महंगा बेचा है, ये सब वहां बोला जा रहा है, और प्रधानमंत्री यहां कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं। और मैं आपको बताता हूं कुछ नहीं कर सकते। अगर वो करना भी चाहें वो नहीं कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि वो अदानी जी के कंट्रोल में है। ये मेरा मेन मैसेज देश को ये है, जेपीसी है, अदानी जी के अरेस्ट है, मगर मैं जनता को कहना चाहता हूं, आप नोट कीजिए, स्कैम किया है 2000 करोड़ रुपए का, मगर मैं आपको गारंटी देके कह रहा हूं यह व्यक्ति ना अरेस्ट होगा, ना इस पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन होगा, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री इसके साथ जुड़े हुए हैं।
मौसमी
राहुल जी, आपने कहा कि प्रधानमंत्री की एक तरीके से साठगांठ है, और लगातार आपका जो स्टैंड है वो विंडिकेट कहीं ना कहीं हुआ। क्या आपको लगता है, क्योंकि आप कह रहे हैं कि इनको अरेस्ट होना चाहिए भारत में भी, जो राज्य सरकारें हैं और जो रिपोर्ट आई है, जो फैसला आया, उसमें भी कई राज्य सरकारों की संलिप्ति है, जिन्होंने ब्राइब ली है। तो क्या जो राज्य सरकारें, चाहे वो कर्नाटक सरकार हो, तेलंगाना ने MOU साइन किया 2024 इकोनॉमिक फोरम में, क्या प्रोएक्टिव कदम लेके आप अपनी सरकारों को संदेश देंगे?
बिल्कुल अदानी जी का अरेस्ट होना चाहिए और जो भी इस मामले में इन्वॉल्व है उस पर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, चाहे वो कहीं का भी हो, कोई भी हो।
हाँ सिद्धार्थ,
आपने स्टेट्स के नाम लिए, राजस्थान भी इसमें इन्वॉल्व है। कुछ ही महीने पहले बीजेपी की सरकार ने इसी तरीके का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट राजस्थान में किया, एंड विच इज द अदर स्टेट, एंड महाराष्ट्र में भी बीजेपी की सरकार ने ऐसा ही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया है। वही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट छत्तीसगढ़ में था। तो मेरा कहना है जहां भी ये हुआ है, चाहे ऑपोजिशन की सरकार हो, चाहे बीजेपी की सरकार हो, इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए, पनिशमेंट होनी चाहिए। मगर मेन बात है, जो किंग पिन है, जो सेंटर है, उसको जेल में जाना चाहिए, अरेस्ट होना चाहिए और उसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए, इंटरोगेशन होना चाहिए, पता लगाना चाहिए कि इसके पीछे कौन है।
सर, आप कह रहे हैं कि भ्रष्टाचार किया है अडानी ग्रुप ने, और
मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं,
जो सामने बात आ रही है।
नहीं, आप क्लियर रहिए, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं। यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुआ है, FBI ने इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया है, FBI कह रही है। मैं पहले से रिपीट करता जा रहा हूं कि अदानी जी हिंदुस्तान में रोज भ्रष्टाचार कर रहे हैं, मगर ये अमेरिका की फेडरल ब्यूरो ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन ने कहा है।
तो क्या सर, अब जो विपक्ष की सरकारें हैं, जहां जहां पर अडानी के जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, उनका भी अब रिव्यू होना चाहिए कि किस चीजों से दिए गए हैं और क्या बॉयकॉट करेगा विपक्ष?
मैंने कल 2-3 दिन पहले एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में बिल्कुल साफ कहा है, जहां भी करप्शन है वहां पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन होनी चाहिए, मगर इन्वेस्टिगेशन अदानी जी से शुरू होगी, और जब तक अदानी जी अरेस्ट नहीं होंगे तब तक क्रेडिबल बात नहीं बनेगी। तो शुरुआत वहां से है, अदानी जी को अरेस्ट कीजिए, उनका इंटेरोगेशन कीजिए, और फिर जो भी इसमें इन्वॉल्व है पकड़िए, और एंड में मैं आपको बता रहा हूं नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नाम निकलेगा, क्योंकि बीजेपी की पूरी फंडिंग, पूरा फंडिंग स्ट्रक्चर इस व्यक्ति के हाथ में है। इसीलिए प्रधानमंत्री चाहे भी कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं। एक प्रकार से अदानी जी ने हिंदुस्तान को हाईजैक कर लिया है, हिंदुस्तान अदानी जी के ग्रिप में है, इसलिए उनके हिंदुस्तान के एयरपोर्ट्स, पोर्ट्स, डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री, ये पार्टनरशिप है। एक तरफ नरेंद्र मोदी जी और एक तरफ अदानी जी, और मैं आपको यहां कह रहा हूं कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी अदानी को अरेस्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं। कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री की कि वो अदानी जी को अरेस्ट करें, क्योंकि जिस दिन उन्होंने अदानी जी को अरेस्ट किया उस दिन वो भी जाएंगे।
हाँ संजीव।
Rahul ji, you've been raising this issue relentlessly over past many months, but nothing has happened. So how do you intend to? How do you intend to? In India, nothing is happening.
No, you're misunderstanding.
Let me complete the question. So how do you intend to intensify this demand of yours, and also whether you've been demanding more scrutiny by the Parliament of Indian institutions? So how do you?
No, you're missing the point. See. It is not that nothing has happened. The Prime Minister's credibility has been destroyed. Right? We are working. We know that there is going to be no government institution that is going to help put Mr. Adani where he belongs. We know that. Because the entire government is controlled by the Prime Minister. But what we are doing, and we have done very successfully, is prove to every single Indian youngster that Mr. Adani and Mr. Modi are the same thing, that Mr. Modi is corrupt, that Mr. Adani is his bagman. This is proved, right? And now what we are going to do, as I've already mentioned, slowly, we are going to find different people in this network and expose them to you. We have already exposed to you one lady called Madhavi Buch. We have also shown you how she is connected to Mr. Adani, and we are going to show you vast number of other people who are involved in this thing. By the end of it, India will know who are the people, every single one of them, who have hijacked this country. So we are working for the opposition. We are working, we are doing our job. Our job is to make the people of India aware what is going on. Right? That's what we are doing. And I must say that The team that is working is doing a phenomenal job. We are working in the Congress party, other opposition parties are working. There are many people who are, activists who are working, and I guarantee you that this structure is going to collapse. It's not going to survive. And it's a testament to the work being done that the United States has done what it's doing. This is not, don't think that nothing is happening. This is flawed. We have completely obliterated Mr. Narendra Modi's image.
हाँ नीरज,
आपने कहा कि हम बहुत दिनों से ये अदानी जी का मुद्दा उठा रहे हैं और आपने कहा कि कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, और मैं इसको हिंदी में दोहराना चाहता हूं, ये गलत है। बहुत कुछ हो रहा है। जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी की जो क्रेडिबिलिटी थी उसको हमने चूर चूर कर दिया है। पूरा देश जानता है कि नरेंद्र मोदी और अदानी जी एक हैं। पूरा देश जानता है कि इंडिया में अदानी जी सेफ हैं और उसका कारण नरेंद्र मोदी है। और आप ये मत सोचिए कि हम इस बात को छोड़ देंगे। हम आस्ते आस्ते देश को ये पूरा का पूरा नेटवर्क दिखा देंगे। ये कौन लोग हैं, कहां बैठे हैं, किस किस स्ट्रक्चर में बैठे हैं। माधवी बुच हमारा पहला उदाहरण था। हमने दिखाया कि माधवी बुच ने अपना काम नहीं किया, उसका कारण भ्रष्टाचार था, उसका कारण कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट था। हमने दिखाया, उनको हटाया नहीं गया है। बट देश जानता है और हिंदुस्तान का हर रिटेल इन्वेस्टर जानता है कि माधवी बुच इज करप्ट एंड माधवी बुच इज प्रोटेक्टिंग मिस्टर अदानी।
राहुल जी, नीरज हूं न्यूज 18 इंडिया से। आप लगातार इस मसले को कांग्रेस पार्टी उठाते रहते, वीडियो के माध्यम से, इस मंच के माध्यम से। ये जो दस्तावेज आए हैं उसके बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने 3 सवाल खड़े किए हैं जो आपके सामने मैं रखता हूं। एक ये कि अभी तक ये एलिगेशन है, आरोप प्रूफ नहीं हुआ है, दोषी नहीं हुआ है। दूसरा, आपने खुद कह दिया कि 4 जो अपोजिशन स्टेट को पैसे दिए गए, बीजेपी ने यह भी कहा, उस पर क्या कार्रवाई होगी, क्या कार्रवाई करेंगे, आपने इसका जवाब तो दे दिया। और तीसरा, उन्होंने सवाल ये खड़ा किया है कि क्योंकि संसद का सत्र आने वाला है, 20 जनवरी को डोनाल्ड ट्रंप आने वाले हैं, इसकी टाइमिंग को लेकर भी सवाल खड़े हो रहे हैं।
क्या
ये जो अमेरिका से जो
अमेरिका ने इन्वेस्टिगेशन
जो बीजेपी ने कहा वो मैं आपके सामने रख रहा हूं। तो ये 3 सवाल है। एक का जवाब आपने दे दिया है कि कोई भी राज्य हो उस पर कार्रवाई हो, बाकी 2 के जवाब।
तो आप बीजेपी के सवाल यहां क्यों रख रहे हो?
नहीं, ये सवाल हमारा है।
नहीं, आप बीजेपी के हो क्या?
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं हूं।
तो फिर बीजेपी के सवाल हमारे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में क्यों रख रहे हो?
राहुल जी, मैं आपके सामने सवाल कर रहा हूं, एक जर्नलिस्ट का सवाल है। और आप
नहीं, अभी आपने बोला बीजेपी का सवाल है।
बीजेपी के समक्ष हम लोग ऐसे ही रखते हैं।
नहीं, बार नहीं, देखिए,
आप
मुझे बोलने दीजिए।
मेरे सवाल का जवाब दीजिए।
आपने सवाल पूछा, मैं बोल रहा हूं आपका जवाब, आपका सवाल का
जवाब। ये मेरा सवाल है, बीजेपी का नहीं, मेरा सवाल।
नहीं, आपने अभी 2 मिनट पहले कहा कि ये बीजेपी के सवाल हैं। आपने ही स्वयं, ब्रदर, आपने स्वयं बोला
बीजेपी ने इसको रखा है सामने इस मसले पे, मैंने ये कहा है।
नहीं, आपने बोला ये बीजेपी के सवाल हैं और मैं पूछ रहा हूं। आई नो, बट आई एम जस्ट स्टेटिंग अ फैक्ट। ही सेड दैट दे आर बीजेपी's क्वेश्चंस। इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग टू मी that the media is asking BJP's questions to the opposition. It's interesting. But anyway, I will leave that. जहां तक बाकी स्टेट्स की इशू है, मैंने कह दिया है कि जहां भी करप्शन हुआ है वहां लोगों को पकड़िए, अंदर कीजिए, इन्वेस्टिगेशन कीजिए। ट्रंप का आना जाना वो अलग बात है। देखिए, ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन पुरानी इन्वेस्टिगेशन है और ये सिर्फ एक एस्पेक्ट है अदानी जी का। अदानी जी सिर्फ पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स में नहीं है। अदानी जी ने मोदी जी की मदद से बांग्लादेश में काम किया है, वहां इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू हुआ है। श्रीलंका में, वहां पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन की बात हो रही है। डिफेंस, केन्या में। तो ये पैटर्न है जहां प्रधानमंत्री कहीं जाते हैं, हिंदुस्तान की सरकार की क्रेडिबिलिटी को लाइन पे डालते हैं एंड देन अदानी जी को बिजनेस दिलवाते हैं। तो देखिए, सच्चाई तो आएगी और हम पीछे छोड़ने वाले हैं नहीं, ठीक है? तो आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट वी विल वर्क स्लोली एंड एंड में वी विल डिसमेंटल दिस स्ट्रक्चर।
हाँ विक्रांत,
मेरा सवाल ये कि आप लोग कहते,
अच्छा, इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बारे में व्हाट हैज मिस्टर अदानी सेड? हैज ही सेड एनीथिंग? So he hasn't said anything, no?
Nothing.
So he doesn't feel it necessary. He doesn't feel it necessary to say, to respond to this, that an FBI investigation has shown that he has done 2,000 crores of corruption. He has, let me speak. He has done 2,000 crores of corruption. He has done criminal acts in the United States, criminal acts in India, and he doesn't feel the need to reply. And it's interesting, the media doesn't feel the need to pressure him to reply. Why?
सर, जिस तरीके से आप कांग्रेस पार्टी के तमाम नेता, आप भी तमाम आरोप FBI ने तो जांच में ऐसा कहा है, आप लोग ये भी कहते रहे कि अडानी जो है वो चुनावों को भी प्रभावित करते हैं. अभी झारखंड और महाराष्ट्र में स्पेशली चुनाव हुए हैं, वहां पर क्या आपको लगता है कि अडानी ने उनको प्रभावित करने की कोशिश की, और अगर की तो वहां पर आपको क्या उम्मीदें हैं? क्या आपको लगता है कि उसका नुकसान हो जाएगा?
ये पॉलिटिकल फाइनेंशियल ब्यूरोक्रेटिक नेटवर्क है. इसमें ब्यूरोक्रेसी के लोग हैं, इसमें पॉलिटिकल लोग हैं, इसमें फाइनेंशियल लोग हैं. एक तरफ ये हिंदुस्तान के पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम को कैप्चर करता है, महाराष्ट्र में किया, मध्य प्रदेश में किया, अरुणाचल में किया, अलग अलग स्टेट्स में किया है, पैसा देके किया. और दूसरी तरफ ये प्रॉफिट का काम करता है. और इन दोनों में लिंक है. पैसा बनता है, पैसा सरकार को बनाने में जाता है, वर्चुअस साइकिल कह दो. देश के लिए नेगेटिव और इनके लिए वर्चुअस साइकिल. तो ये जो मेन स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, स्टॉक प्राइस को आप ऊपर रखिए, स्टॉक प्राइस के बेसिस पे आप लोन लीजिए, और फिर लोन से आप प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाइए, सरकार बनाइए, और प्रोजेक्ट्स लीजिए, और वैल्यूएशन ऊपर जाएगा. ये साइकिल है.
जैनेंद्र
वो आप अभी डिस्ट्रैक्ट करोगे, बाद उसको डिस्कस बात करेंगे, मगर पॉजिटिव है हमारे लिए.
जी राहुल जी, एक तो ये अदानी से जुड़ा हुआ मामला जो है उस पर ये सवाल है कि जब आप सीधा ये मांग कर रहे हैं कि अदानी की गिरफ्तारी होनी चाहिए, उनकी कंपनियों के साथ आपकी राज्य सरकारों ने जो पिछले दिनों में डील किए हैं, क्या उन डील्स को रिव्यू किया जाएगा? क्या उनको डिसकंटिन्यू किया जाने पर विचार कर सकते हैं?
नहीं, देखिए, मैंने झारखंड के प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में क्लियरली बोला कि एक है क्रिमिनलिटी और करप्शन, दूसरा है ड्यू प्रोसेस. अगर अदानी जी, अंबानी जी ड्यू प्रोसेस के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, वी हैव नो प्रॉब्लम. बट अगर क्रिमिनलिटी के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, मोनोपोलाइजेशन के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, करप्शन के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, वी हैव अ प्रॉब्लम. अब सरकार के ऊपर है कि वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू करें. हर स्टेट में बांग्लादेश के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को इन्वेस्टिगेट, केन्या, बांग्लादेश, श्रीलंका, अमेरिका, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, सब इन्वेस्टिगेट करें. हमारे स्टेट्स में, ऑपोजिशन के स्टेट्स में, सरकारी स्टेट्स में, सब जगह कीजिए. बट शुरुआत तो वहीं होगी ना, अदानी से शुरुआत होगी. तो अदानी को पकड़िए, अंदर डालिए, इंटेरोगेशन शुरू कीजिए और इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू कीजिए. और ये जो माधवी बुच जी हैं, जो इनके स्टॉक प्राइस को प्रोटेक्ट करती हैं, इनको वहां से हटाइए और क्रेडिबल व्यक्ति को वहां डालिए. क्योंकि अगर आप नहीं करेंगे तो हिंदुस्तान के जो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, उनका जबरदस्त नुकसान होने वाला है. ये खिलवाड़, ये गेम जो चल रहा है, इसमें अंत में हिंदुस्तान का जो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर है वो मार खाएगा. अदानी जी बच जाएंगे, बड़े बड़े लोग बच जाएंगे, छोटा इन्वेस्टर जो है, मैं आपसे बोल रहा हूं, आप मार खाओगे. और मेरा काम है एज एलओपी आपको प्रोटेक्ट करना.
Rahul ji, Rahul ji, the prosecutors were saying that they were used some quotes like the biggest man, number one. These are the quotes you are always referring in your speeches. What is your take on that?
No, what is the question?
I know the structure. So I understand what the structure looks like. I've been studying it for a while. Yeah. Of course. एक है नंबर वन, एक है तो सेफ हैं. नंबर टू इज ऑल्सो देयर.
एक मिनट, रंजीता.
नो, आई वांट टू जस्ट से अबाउट दिस.
आ रहा हूं यार, सबको मौका दे.
वेयर इज द वो ब्राइब वाला दिखाओ, ब्राइब नोट वाला दिखाओ. ये जरा पढ़िए. ये देखिए, इस स्कैम का सिस्टम में देश के युवाओं को बता देता हूं। देखिए यहां पे लिखा है आर अदानी used his Sagar R. Adani, used his cellular phone to track specific details of the bribes offered and promised to government officials. These were called the bribe notes. The bribe notes identified the state or region for which government officials had been offered a bribe, the total amount of the offered bribe, and this is the most important part, ये सबसे जरूरी part है, and the approximate amount of solar power the state or region would agree to purchase in exchange for the bribe at inflated prices. मतलब बिजली जो महंगी हो रही है वो इसलिए महंगी हो रही है क्योंकि अदानी जी भ्रष्टाचार कर रहे हैं। आप याद रखिए, जब आप लाइट स्विच ऑन करते हैं अदानी जी के पॉकेट में पैसा जा रहा है, मोदी जी के सिस्टम को चलाने के लिए पैसा जा रहा है। इसलिए इन्होंने अमेरिका में कहा है ब्राइब नोट्स।
राहुल जी, शेयर धारकों का जिक्र किया आपने। इस खबर के बाद 2.5 लाख करोड़ शेयर धारक जो स्टेक होल्डर्स थे उनको पैसे का नुकसान हुआ। इसको आप किस तरह से देखते हैं? और दूसरा सवाल इसी से जुड़ा हुआ है कि क्या पार्लियामेंट में सिर्फ कांग्रेस पार्टी नहीं, जो इंडिया अलायंस की बात लगातार होती है, इंडिया अलायंस भी इस मुद्दे पर एक साथ है? और क्या इसको लेकर कुछ आप लोगों की योजना है?
सब एक साथ है, इंडिया अलायंस एक साथ है और सिस्टमैटिकली काम हो रहा है। तो पार्लियामेंट में भी हम एक साथ रहेंगे। पहला सवाल क्या था? हाँ, मैं बोल रहा हूं मेन स्टेक होल्डर, हमारे लिए मेन स्टेक होल्डर रिटेल इन्वेस्टर है और फ्रैंकली उनको रिस्क में डाला जा रहा है। और हम इसलिए माधवी बुच की बात हमने की कि उनका काम रिटेल शेयर होल्डर को बचाने का है, प्रोटेक्ट करने का है, और वो नहीं कर रही है। और ये पूरा जो चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस का सिस्टम है, प्रोटेक्शन का सिस्टम है रिटेल इन्वेस्टर का, ये खत्म हो गया है। इसीलिए हम इसको दोहरा रहे हैं कि आप माधवी बुच को निकालिए और सही इन्वेस्टिगेशन करिए। अदानी जी ने हिंदुस्तान के इन्वेस्टर से, अमेरिका के इन्वेस्टर से झूठ बोला है। अदानी जी हैज डन क्रिमिनल एक्ट्स अकॉर्डिंग टू द फेडरल ब्यूरो ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन। अब मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, फेडरल ब्यूरो ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन कह रहा है कि इंडिया में क्रिमिनल एक्ट किया है, अमेरिका में क्रिमिनल एक्ट किया है, यहां पे सीबीआई क्यों नहीं बोल रही है? यहां पे सेबी क्यों नहीं बोल रही है? दैट इज द सच्चाई ये है।
राहुल सर, मैं कृष्ण मोहन शर्मा, भारत एक्सप्रेस से। जब पूरे देश में कोई कानून नहीं लागू होता है तो हम कहते हैं कि पार्लियामेंट में हम कानून बनाएंगे। जेपीसी की आपने बात की, बहुत सारे दोस्तों ने पूछा, अगर जेपीसी में भी इसका कोई हल नहीं निकलता है तो आगे क्या?
नहीं, देखिए जो मैंने पहले बोला, हमारा काम जनता को इन्फॉर्म करने का है। हमारा काम जहां करप्शन हो रहा है, जहां क्राइम हो रहा है, जहां मोनोपोलीज बन रही हैं, हमारा काम जनता को बताने का है। मैंने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में पहले कहा है, जो नॉर्मली हमारे औजार होते हैं वो हमारे पास नहीं है। प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में मुझे मतलब बीजेपी के सवाल पूछे जा रहे हैं, राइट? वो तो क्लियर है, हम जानते हैं। तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स क्या होते हैं? इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स लीगल सिस्टम होता है, इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स सीबीआई, ईडी, इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसीज होती हैं, इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स मीडिया होते हैं। हमारे पास है ही नहीं। हम अकेले, मैं सिर्फ अकेला नहीं, हम लोग अकेले आपका काम कर रहे हैं, इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसीज का काम कर रहे हैं, जुडिशरी का भी थोड़ा सा हो रहा है। तो रियलिटी हिंदुस्तान की ये है। लास्ट क्वेश्चन। हरियाणा पे।
शुक्रिया राहुल जी, नमस्कार।
डिस्ट्रैक्शन क्वेश्चन, चलो हरियाणा की बात करता हूं। इलेक्शन एनालाइज करते हैं हरियाणा का।
चलिए राहुल जी, आपने हरियाणा का जिक्र किया तो मैं तो
नहीं, सवाल किसके बारे में?
चलो बताओ, शुरू करता हूं। एनालिसिस दे देता हूं हरियाणा वाली।
इस विषय पर
अदानी छोड़ो, चलो हरियाणा लाओ सब।
ठीक है राहुल जी, हरियाणा पूछ लेता हूँ। राहुल जी, राहुल जी हरियाणा पूछ लेता हूँ। हरियाणा में चुनाव हुआ, आपने इसको तंत्र की जीत बताया और लिंक जोड़ा गया कि पैसा पावर का इस्तेमाल होता है, लेकिन अभी तक एलओपी का फैसला नहीं हो पाया।
हाँ?
अभी तक एलओपी का फैसला हरियाणा में नहीं हुआ।
हाँ, ये अदानी जी के भ्रष्टाचार से बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है, एक्सप्लोसिव मुद्दा है ये। इसके बारे में एफबीआई भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन करेगी, चेक करेगी इसको, और फिर हम जब एफबीआई इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी फिर उसका रिजल्ट आएगा। नहीं, मैं मुद्दे को डाइवर्ट नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं मजाक कर रहा हूं। देखिए, जो कपाट हिंदुस्तान की का जो फ्यूचर है उसको डैमेज किया जा रहा है। पॉलिटिकल फाइनेंस, स्टॉक मार्केट, अदानी जी के बीच में जो नेक्सस है ये देश के लिए खतरनाक है, रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए खतरनाक है। उनको चोट लगेगी, पक्का लगेगी, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं। मगर उससे आगे भी ये देश की सिक्योरिटी के लिए खतरनाक है, देश के विकास के लिए खतरनाक है। अगर आप इतना कॉन्सेंट्रेट, धन को, पावर को अगर आप इतना कॉन्सेंट्रेट करेंगे तो सोशल प्रॉब्लम आएगी, बहुत नुकसान होगा। इसीलिए हम इन चीजों को उठाते हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि अदानी जी का अरेस्ट किया जाए, उनका इंटेरोगेशन हो। हम चाहते हैं कि जो इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसीज हैं, जो 2 मिनट में झारखंड के चीफ मिनिस्टर को अरेस्ट कर देती हैं, दूसरों को अरेस्ट कर देती हैं, दिल्ली के चीफ मिनिस्टर को अरेस्ट कर देती हैं, हम चाहते हैं कि वो अपना काम करें, अदानी जी को अरेस्ट करें, इंटेरोगेट करें, और जहां भी करप्शन हुआ है कार्रवाई करें।
शुक्रिया 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 शुक्रिया,
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Charges that have been put by the leader of opposition Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. Let's actually take a look at what the case is in the New York court, where Adani group of companies that is led by Gautam Adani, who has been charged with fraud, who's been charged with giving bribes worth 2,000 crore rupees. Rishabh, give us details.
Okay, let me explain to people watching this broadcast what exactly is going on. I have this entire charge sheet that has been filed, 54 pages with me. I'm going to take you through it point by point, page by page, but let me explain to you first what exactly has happened. There is a New York Attorney General's office. So let's stay with me, okay? There's a New York Attorney General's office. Let's just stay with me. I'm going to ask my PCR crew so we don't have to start this again and again, right? So let's do this step by step. Here is the full case. What is being charged by the New York Attorney General's office? What are they actually alleging? What are they actually claiming? And what does that actually affect? Now, the New York Attorney General's office is basically saying this, and I'm going to take you through the entire 54-page charge sheet that they put through point by point. But let's draw a broad summary first. The broad summary is that the Adani group got involved in solar energy projects. When they were constructing the projects, they had a problem that they did not have customers, says the US Attorney General, to purchase the solar energy they would thereby be generating. In order to find customers to purchase the solar energy in Chhattisgarh, in Andhra Pradesh, in Odisha, in Jammu and Kashmir, in Tamil Nadu, that the senior officials, including Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani, went and ran a bribery scandal to the tune of more than $250 million. That's about 2,000 crore rupees. That there was a Canadian pension fund that was not invested in Adani companies, but was invested in another company called Azure Power, which had held 50% stake in that company, which was involved in these corrupt dealings. And when the Adani group of entities, some of which are listed in foreign stock exchanges, went to raise foreign funding through companies based out of Mauritius. They failed to declare the fact that they were engaging in corrupt practices, which of course is illegal in the United States. So, the US Attorney General's office, believe it or not, has filed a charge sheet on corruption happening in India. This is not that they were trying to bribe somebody in New York. They claim a foreign official was also offered bribes. Not much details are available therein. But why would a New York Attorney General take on a case of bribery in India? There are two causes. One, they say a foreign official was also involved. Number two, they say that these companies are listed in the New York Stock Exchange. Number three, the Canadian pension fund also holds investments in the United States. So that is their locus standi in prosecuting this case. So this is in summary what the New York case is saying. But what is it actually targeting? It is targeting the Adani group and the person of Gautam Adani, who is named in the charge sheet. It is suggesting that the entire solar energy matrix in India is corrupt. It is suggesting that the entire energy procurement machinery in India across states ruled by the opposition in the past, Chhattisgarh, Andhra, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Jammu and Kashmir, that these are all corrupt, their officials are corrupt. So you're basically telling the people of this country in India, sitting in New York, that your solar energy projects are unviable because nobody wants to buy the solar power. The only reason the solar power can be sold is through massive amounts of bribery, which means that your entire power infrastructure across a large swath of the country is run on corruption. So they are trying to say that a massive corruption case is happening in India, where solar energy projects are unviable. And remember, India is building some of the largest solar energy projects in the world. But they are saying nobody is there to buy the energy. We are producing solar energy that nobody wants to buy. And the only reason the states buy the energy is because of corruption. So a shadow is being put on the solar energy sector. A shadow is being put on purchase of electricity and distribution. A shadow is being put on how the Indian administration works. A shadow is being put on the Adani group and its functioning. And no doubt about it, a shadow is being put on how India is being run as a country under the Prime Ministership of Narendra Modi. Now, I want you to understand this, and I'll come and refer to this in detail. One of the principal sources of information that the New York Attorney Generals are relying on are details coming from a Canadian pension fund. Okay, let me underline that. A Canadian pension fund and its officers have provided details to the New York prosecutors through the Attorney General's office about a corruption scandal happening in India involving a company in which the Canadian pension funds holds 50% stake, which is linked to the Adani Group solar projects, suggesting that the solar projects are unviable and nobody wants to buy their energy, and that 2,000 crores of bribes were spent within India, including a suggestion that one of them was offered to a foreign national. And the entire solar energy ecosystem in India is then thereby operating on a basis of corruption. This is the subtext of what is going on. Okay. Now let's look at the charge sheet. We have guests joining us to discuss this very shortly. Okay. Let's come to this. Let's zoom in so that we can actually read things on what is going on. Aap idhar aiye na, sharmaiye mat. Let's read the charge sheet. Okay. So the United States District Court, Eastern District, New York. So the case has been filed in New York. Okay. Who are the accused? It's the United States of America, okay, which is the Union, against Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani, his nephew, against Vineet Jain, Ranjit Gupta, who was CEO of Azure Power. Okay, hardly can see this very clearly. Your camera, sir, requires help. Azure CEO from 2019 to 2022. Okay, then Cyril Kabans, Saurabh Agarwal, Deepak Malhotra and Rupesh Agarwal. Rupesh Agarwal basically took over as CEO of Azure from 2022 to 2023. Okay, so these are the players. The New York prosecutor is saying Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani, Vineet Jain, Ranjit Gupta, basically Azure Power, Cyril Kabans, Saurabh Agarwal, Deepak Malhotra and Rupesh Agarwal, who was also the CEO of Azure. These are the accused. What does the case say? Let's have a look at what the case says. Between 2020 and 2024, senior executives of an Indian renewable energy company, which was a portfolio company of an Indian conglomerate, an issuer company that operated in the renewable energy sector, whose securities are traded on the US stock exchanges. They are justifying the case that we have locus standi because this conglomerate has shares trading in the US stock exchanges. Its largest shareholder, a Canadian institutional investor, participated in a scheme to bribe Indian government officials to ensure the executions of lucrative solar energy supply contracts with the Indian government entities. So this is not bribing the Canadian government, this is not bribing the US government, this is Indian government, that Adani was bribing Indian government entities. That's the charge that is being put here. Okay. During the same period, senior executives of the Indian Renewable Energy Company conspired to misrepresent anti-bribery practices to the US-based investors and international financial institutions. So this is the second justification of why the New York prosecutor's office has a locus standi on this case. That they concealed from investors and institutions bribery of Indian government officials to obtain billions of dollars in financing. This is the third justification, that they got the contracts by bribery, and by not disclosing these contracts, they managed to obtain billions of dollars in financing for green energy projects, including corrupt solar energy supply contracts. In addition, senior executives of this company and its Canadian institutional investor conspired to obstruct the US government's investigations into the bribery case. Fourth justification for the locus standi. Remember, the prosecutor has to appear before the judge, and the judge is going to ask them what is the locus standi of the New York prosecutor in a case of bribery that is allegedly taking place in India. They are saying this is the case. Okay. Now, who are these people? The Indian Energy Company, okay, headquartered in India, conglomerate, corporate offices in India. The US issuer is a renewable energy company incorporated in Mauritius. Now, who are the defendants in this case? The defendant Gautam Adani, citizen of India, resides in India, founder of the conglomerate, includes numerous portfolio companies, including the energy company. He served as the chairman and non-executive director of the Indian Energy Company's board of directors. Okay. Sagar Adani, citizen of India, residing in India, his nephew. From approximately October 2018 through the present, Sagar Adani was the executive director of the Indian Energy Company's board of directors. Vineet Jain, citizen of India, resides in India. From 2020 to 2023, he was the CEO of this company. And from 2020, he was on the managing director of the Indian Company's board of directors. Then Ranjit Gupta, citizen of India, resides in India. From 2019 to 2022, he was the CEO of the US issuer and the CEO and managing director of the US issuer subsidiary. That Gupta was an officer, employee and agent of the issuer, as those terms are issued in the FCPA, which is the US regulation on this. That Cyril Kabans, citizen of Australia and France, this is the foreign national that they are referring to. This is the guy. Okay. He resides in Singapore. That between 2016 and 2023, he was employed by a company associated with the Canadian investor. This is the Canadian pension fund. Okay. and from 2017 to 2023 was a non-executive director of the boards of directors of the US issuer and the US issuer's subsidiary. Okay, Kabans was the director of the US issuer, and what all these details are, I'm going to come back to you. Saurabh Agarwal, citizen of India, resides in India. From 2017 to 2023, he was employed by a company associated with the Canadian investor. This is the Canadian Pension Fund, and reported to the defendant Cyril Kabans. Saurabh Agarwal was a person, as that term is used in the FCPA, and their definition of the act goes on. Okay. Deepak Malhotra, citizen of India, resides in India. From 2018 to 2023, he was also employed by a company associated with the Canadian Mutual Fund. Then Rupesh Agarwal, citizen of India, resided in India. From 2022 spring to July, he was a consultant for the US issuer and the US issuer subsidiary. Okay. He was the chief strategy and commercial officer for the US issuer. For approximately August 2022 through July 2023, he was the acting CEO, the US issuer and the US issuer subsidiary. This is Azure Power. Okay. So the Canadian Pension Fund buys a 50% stake in Azure Power, and these guys are working for